Hello and welcome to the AstroPub, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. Today we're talking about our Captain's Table podcast. This is our Captain's Table podcast. We're a little earlier than we usually are. This is a podcast where I bring people from Star Citizen to talk about the game, the community, the events going on, theory crafts, just pretty much anything. Just kind of hanging out and talk. We've got an interesting topic. This is a topic that got brought up a couple of times. We've actually had a few Captain's Tables on this, but Red J mentioned that they wanted to talk about this topic about fashion in Star Citizen, and specifically mentioned that they wanted to come on and talk talk about this with Buster. And I knew instantly, perfect, we're going to do this, and I managed to wrangle everyone together to get this one done, but we have a hard limit for this one. So it is 4 hours. So this cannot go over 4 hours. Just so you know.
Yeah, I gotta get up to the bar and run the audio.
It's big. It's a big week though. It's Dallas. It's like DreamHack in Dallas right now.
Yeah.
So you know.
And speaking of Dallas, I would like to, I guess we'll take this. Yeah. Hey everybody, we lost a community member this week. His name was Mechi. You probably saw him in some of these chats here on Twitch as Nomad 1701. He was a member of Soul Citizens, and he was an avid attender of DFW Bar Citizens. So I just wanted to say that today, and keep his family and friends and everybody in your hearts. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
Nomad
on fashion, at some point I'll scream. up at the sky.
Yeah, he was a community member for here. He's been a community member around a lot of content creators chats for a while, so it was kind of sort of sudden to hear about that. So, good guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Now there is been something I also want to address a little bit, just because it is Pride Month. I don't talk about this a lot because it's not something I like shout from the rooftops, generally speaking, but I'm pansexual, and because of that, I've always been LGBTQ tags on a lot of different things, and Twitch reached out to me and asked if and invited me to be on their sort of, they call it their shelves, which is kind of like a front page thing where there's a carousel where it'll randomly choose, various creators who are live during a month, during not just during the month, during the entire year, this one. And it's basically like getting a kind of a random front page spot. So, that's you might see some new people coming in and talking to us about Star Citizen because of that. So, and there's been some people who are like, "Hey, why I'm not giving my phone number to Twitch?" And it's like, that's fine. That's just the rules for while this is going for this month. They've asked us to increase our security, for those who are part of this, to increase the security settings a little bit higher. But if you're not okay with that, you can always come to the YouTube. Chat is also available there. So,
well, congratulations, and also happy Pride Month, everybody.
Happy Pride.
As the daughter of a lesbian women's. I have a mother and a madre, which is wonderful, and as the baby of gays.
Yes.
Happy Pride, everybody.
With that all being said, we're talking about fashion, the fashion of Star Citizen. Let's introduce the folks who are going to be here with today. We'll start with Red J. Since you haven't spoken yet, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Hello, everybody. If you haven't heard from my channel, I am on YouTube exclusively under Red J, and I cover everything from pioneering the latest PTU and whatnot builds all the way through to live, covering some of the topics people do, including ship analysis. Also, I do dramatic lore reads that take the official CIG text and try to lift them off the page. So a lot of times if you read that written wall of text and you're going, I ain't reading that, you can enjoy it and come along on the ride with me. I tend to bat for the fences on those and have a good time. And I really appreciate Paul's work in the lore field as well. It's great to be here.
I'm gonna plug for Red J a little bit because I know you. I know who you're watching this right now. Many of you watch me because you don't want to read my want to read the monthly reports or anything else like the CIG puts out. So if you're already doing that for me, go subscribe to Red J. And because so many people say, well, Paul, where do you get all this information? And I always get confused when it comes to like the lore stuff. And I'm like, it's posted. Like, it's been posted. It's like been the one thing that they post more consistently than anything for the last 12 years on their website. But I guess it's just not a place that a lot of people frequent. So if you're the person who's just like, you know what, I don't have time to read. I don't like to read or maybe you have a language barrier, because I know there's a lot of people who are not native English speakers and have a struggle with reading. Red J does dramatic readings of all of the lore content. So, or most of the lore content. I'm sure there's too much for Red J to kind of do all of it because it's a lot. So make sure you check them out as well. And it's youtube.com/RedJ, right?
Yes, and I'm just 54 official Lore Only View videos. I'm remastering a couple, but that's just to give you an idea of how back the categories go. I have a whole playlist, so if you get on my channel and you're like, what's all this other stuff? Just scroll down to the third row. It's all lore all the time.
Have you done the Star Watch ones?
What's the main character in that one, or is it just
Callie
like
C?
Yeah,
the host.
She's
It's
the
like
host.
it's like their version of like what's
Like
that
Entertainment Tonight.
extra like yeah Entertainment Tonight. It's so funny.
It's great.
If you ever do it, I'll do it with you.
That sounds like a plan. I've done Plain Truth.
Plain Truth. Fashion. They talk about fashion and everything, and I'm surprised that
Booty Call. That's a real show. That's not me messing around.
Booty Call is great. I love Joker. Joker is a character.
Yeah. And of course, welcome to Tracker. We're here tonight with.
Yeah. It's such
awesome.
it's such try hard freaking bounty hunter stuff is Tracker. But yeah, no, Star Watch is great. And for those of you who are wondering, Star Watch legitimately talks about game mechanics in it, because whenever they do a Star Watch, they always tie in whatever they're working on. So like there's an entire Star Watch about regeneration, which talks about, because it talks about an actor who signed like kind of an over the hill, like a former A-list actor who's kind of over the hill. They got signed into a contract to do a video, like a movie version of a popular book, and that book was about this guy's actual life experience surviving in like this like ice world, being trapped in this ice world and surviving for a bunch of times. So the actor is super method. So he went out and killed himself multiple times in the cold, but he's got regen, so he regened. And but then they decided not to complete the entire story. And because they decided not to do the film, he had signed a contract, because somebody at the studio didn't realize that he'd signed a contract where he got paid even if they never fully made the movie. So they're panicking because they have to pay him his fees, and they're like, wait, the person who signed this is not the same person who's standing in front of him, because he's died 3 times. So you're legally not the same person. So he was suing the studio over this. And that was an entire story in Star Watch to talk about like the legal aspects of regen. So
I think I remember reading that and being like, okay, so the guy, and I remembered that one a little bit, because there's not been very many of them, and it's been a long time. But I remember the one about the actor regenning. I didn't connect it. I just thought it was funny, and I think about the fact that it was about a mechanic in the game.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Like all of the lore posts are all about, they all kind of tie into a mechanic or to something they're doing. Like there's a Tracker episode where they're talking to where the guy is talking with another bounty hunter who's from Pyro, who's like born and raised in Pyro, who left Pyro and then came back, and she's like telling her, like they're kind of talking back and forth about it, and her being like, yeah, it's kind of rough, and all that was about, it was obviously the writers had been sort of kind of like crafting the idea behind the various gangs. So there's a bunch of the gangs of Pyro are only mentioned inside that Tracker article, because it was like them playing around with the ideas. So you get a lot of, whenever you hear me or Tree 0311 talk about lore equals gameplay, what we're talking about is that all of the lore is written because it is written for the game, because like there's some aspect of the game that the writers were asked to flesh out, and so they decided to be creative and try to tie that into the universe. So if you like that sort of stuff, Red J does that. You also do ship reviews and other things like that, right?
Exactly, and that's what I try to do a whole bunch of. And once in a while, I do creative things. My friend Toast, she does a lot of good content as well. And on her Division series, I play Constantine Heston and the Hestonemic Hestons. And, we kind of have fun with it and kind of explore the world we already have. So we're really excited about Pyro coming up.
Nice. And then we have Buster the Destroyer. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? And where can they find you?
Hi, Buster Bongo J, as I always say, which means my name is Buster in Klingon, for those who are new to the language or new to the phrase. But I play Star Citizen. Lately, my thing has been the making faces of the community in the game, and I've made about like a little over 80 people in the community. A couple of those have honestly been like more artwork that like maybe like a handful, like 5 of them maybe have been people saying I would like it based on an artwork, not at my actual face. But overall, I've made at least, and then not including CIG though, but with CIG added, that there's like 4 more people added. I've made I made a really good, I think one of my best ones I made was actually Sandy Roberts. So, and I wasn't gonna make Chris, I'm making Sandy.
Mm-hmm. You made the model I use, so like that's the model I'm using.
I made a bunch of people's, but so if you need one, come see me. I'm on the road to 100. I know, like, people are probably like, oh, there's gonna be a better character creator in 4.0, but I'll retouch anybody that needs it retouched in 4.0. So I don't mind going back and redoing some work, but it's been a lot of fun. So please bring me your faces. Bring me your faces. Bring me your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful star faces, and I will make it. And then especially if you're struggling with it. But I just I screw up things as Star Citizen. I love breaking a server when I can do it. But and you can find me on twitch.tv/Buster the Destroyer. And and if you're in town for DreamHack here in Dallas, or you just happen to be a Dallas person, come see me at Jack Ruby's tonight. I'll be running sound. It's down in the West End. So I just kind of stand around and make sure that they sound okay. And it's pretty easy. So come see me. It's not like I'm super I'll read your tarot cards, like whatever. It's fun. But yeah.
What was I going to say? Someone in the YouTube chat was asking, do you speak Klingon? I was like, not only does she speak Klingon, but she's friends with one of the official Klingon advisors for Star Trek. Sadly, Prodigy. Jen,
Klingon pop warrior. She's well known for her Klingon language covers of popular songs, in like stuff like what's that one, like shooting at the walls of heartache, yeah, bang bang, I am the warrior, I am the warrior. She does like that, and like Mother by Danzig, and all kinds of awesome stuff in Klingon. And she's one of the Klingon language advisors for Star Trek Prodigy, and I assume probably at some point some other Star Trek shows. So yeah, she's really good at it. So at least I have people around me, like when I don't know how to pronounce something in Klingon, they get me right, and sometimes a little harshly. As they should, as a Klingon should.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a correction from a Klingon, it might as well be a harsh one.
I'll address this one more time because it's coming up a couple more times, because some people are hopping into the the YouTube chat who were in the Twitch chat, being like, why can't I speak unless I have my my phone number? And it's because I'm being featured on Twitch's front page, and it's something that they require us to do for safety purposes. So for this month, at least, that's going to be the case. So, but
yes.
I always have YouTube up there. So if you're not okay with that, with doing for that Twitch, it's it's okay to do it on YouTube as well. So,
but in chat, Vic said it's been a long road. Getting from there to here into fashion. What's this long road of fashion?
Long road of fashion. Let's get into this one, because we're going to talk a little bit about this. So, to begin this, I do want to emphasize that what we're going to be discussing is not intended to discount anybody else's opinions or anyone else's preferences when it comes to like what you want to wear, what you want to see in Star Citizen. Really, what we want to discuss here is we want to discuss what CIG is already doing right, what CIG is falling down on, what is CIG improving on as of recently, and how can CIG improve beyond that, as well as addressing things like clothing types, but also things like outfit choices and like inventory management and how that can be changed as well. So with that, let's get started with the first topic. In terms of fashion, in terms of clothing and like aesthetic appeal, what is CIG doing right currently? I'll start with you on this one, Buster.
What they're doing right is this was something we were talking we always talk a little bit before y'all get to hear us. I was saying specifically like that some of the outfits, or really all the outfits, look great on both body types, right? Like there was a kind of more feminine outfit design or brought into the game. What was this, about a year ago? Maybe a little over a year ago. It's if you know what I'm talking about, it's at Apparelli in New Babbage, and it's like kind of, there's two of them actually. There's two that are like almost like full body suits. One's like very like Lando Calrissian in the colors, and the other's like more feminine, and it, you can buy a little hat that goes with it, and it's like white and black with a little bit of gold. Both of those look fantastic on on both body types. And the thing is that that one, the white and black one, felt like it was like kind of a finally like, hey, we're gonna give something more feminine to the players to enjoy. And I've always been amazed at how, like, I love how it looks like, on my little feminine model, but then when I see it on the masculine model, like I love it. I love it on them too. So what they are doing right is very good in especially new items, translation of both of them on each model, on each body type, and just looking fantastic. I wouldn't say that's necessarily as true for older stuff, which we can get into later. But and then the other thing, and I do think they're making the concerted effort going forward to bring more femininity into the game is in clothing choices. I'm really hoping with the cloud, with the update, with not the cloud. I don't know why I said cloud. What did we see at CitizenCon when the cloth tech? I couldn't think of the word.
Starcloth.
Starcloth. Starcloth is beautiful. It's going to be a huge step forward. I think it's going to be the biggest step forward in how clothing acts and behaves in the game, obviously, but also how it could open them up for maybe a lot of more interesting and new design in the future. So I think they're going in the right direction. Like they are headed they are headed towards dresses, everybody. They're gonna get there one day. I have faith. So yeah, I think that's I think that covers mostly what I think they're doing right now. And there's probably something I haven't thought of, but yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. Red Jay, what is CIG doing currently, like, right in terms of fashion, clothing, aesthetics, that kind of thing?
I would say that it was already mentioned in the chat about how like there should be regional clothings and such, and I do agree with that. But at the planetary level, we've already seen clothing, especially in New Babbage, where it's designed for the colder climate. It makes sense based on the conditions. You go to Loreville, there's a different kind of clothing palette, the little bit they do offer. I do appreciate that. I also appreciate that the clothing in inventory space is starting to be right-sized slowly but surely, which is good. I would say that also Pyro, some of the concepts we've seen that are extremely different, which is very welcome, is great to see. I remember during the Pyro preview, the clothing set they gave out to all the players to use while they were in there was extremely suitable for those nasty conditions in a hot place, and it was like, this is really setting the tone. So I do appreciate those efforts. And I think that's all I got that's good right now, but we're on the track towards getting better and better, which is what I want to headline with.
So I will also say that in my opinion, CIG has gotten a lot better. Like the clothing designs have been improved. They have started to actually, hopefully, it seems like they're starting to listen to their artists a little bit more, because in the past their artists had been talking about doing different regional styles or even different outfit. Like one of the things that's great, like look at the Dusters. The Dusters are a gang that isn't just about all their armor. Their armor is great and unique, but they took the idea of the Sand Nomad and brought it out, but also the clothing style. I can't tell you how many people who do Star Citizen screenshots I have seen who've taken the clothing, the Duster style of like tank top and like rutted up jeans, stuff like that, and use that sort of style with like goggles and stuff like that. It's very, very kind of unique aesthetic. And so they've done a really good job of kind of differentiating styles, even based off of like gang attire and like faction attire, because like you can tell the difference between a Ninetales and a Duster and a space pirate or like a shipjacker or Crusader security versus Hurston security, or somebody who's in Crusader or in Orison versus somebody who lives in Microtech. They all have very different clothing styles, and some of them cross over here and there, which makes sense. So they're doing a really good job of that. I think they still have a long way to go for other things, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But they are on the right path, especially the stuff they've talked about in CitizenCon. They talked a lot about where they want to go with it, and it seems like it's a good direction. But with that, let's talk a little bit more about what CIG is kind of falling down on. So, Red J, what do you think CIG is kind of falling down on currently? Like, what could they improve upon?
I'm going to pick on something that I think a lot of players are impacted by, but it's kind of on the edge case of fashion, and that's the freebies and the subscriber gear. So there's not a lot of pants and shoes that are issued out with the subscriber gear. A lot of times it's free shirts. Yep, it's free shirts. It's sometimes a hat or even the guide equipment, like the guide outfit, the beanies and such. And it's like, okay, that's great, but what can I wear with this? So a lot of times you'll see in the PTU people running around with less than enough clothing because they literally just don't have any other clothing, or they choose to wear an undersuit because they don't want to look silly. And that's a shame, but they don't. If you sell a shirt, you should sell the pants. And also for the Christmas gear, Luminalia gear and all the different holiday gear, there is a lot of focus lately on undersuits. And that's great for utility, but we're swimming in undersuits now. You have an opportunity here to kind of have more clothing options. And I would like to see more utility clothings. Because I know that sounds silly, but there is room to flesh that out even more. And combat style clothings, like we'll get into that later probably, but like stealthier stuff when you don't want to wear a whole suit. And then on the flip side of that, to Buster's earlier point about dresses and other clothing points that are like, you don't want to look like you're working down the docks for the day. Sometimes you want to wear more formal clothes. Sometimes you want to wear more class, flowing clothes that are more comfortable and feel that way. They could do a much better job of issuing that out through those event times. Like, for goodness. So when we're talking about the biggest mistake was it called Love Struck? Was that the suit? So during that time, it was like, why would you not put like, romantic clothing up during this time period instead of just...
Yeah, why not like a hot little red thing,
Exactly. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but like, one of the other major things for me, and I'm trying to get off my pedestal right after this, I promise. But swimsuits. They sold an $8.90 jump without the clothing to sit in the spa or go into the pool. And it's like, this is 101 here. We need to go back to the basics. And I'm not talking about the craziest, most revealing stuff. We need basic swimsuits for men and women. Let's start there.
Swim trunks and one-piece swimsuits. It's something simple as that.
Yeah, let's just start there. Yeah.
I'll turn up Buster a little bit. I think Buster's been trying to move her voice away from it because she was screaming yes, yes, yes when Red J was talking about some of the subscriber stuff. So
yeah, I was like, yes.
You feel my pain. We've all been there.
Oh gosh, it's so funny you say that because I legit I was not even like within this last month, probably not even 2 weeks ago. I can't remember when it was, but I just remember having like like when it was, I think it was right after I loaded into 323 for the first time or something, like, because you know how it goes. You get all your subscriber stuff back, blah, blah. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like going, why are there no pants? Like I have like 3 pairs of pants from subscriber stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a million shirts. I have a million other things and armor pieces and everything. But where are my freaking pants? Like the only pants I have is those military pants, and they look god awful on the feminine model. I just hate them. Yeah, I always hate them.
And before anyone if anyone wonders, like there are multiple different versions of pants exist in the world. You have pants that are tighter, looser. You have bell bottoms. You have so many different styles that you go with.
You go like a Levi's store, like a store that specializes in jeans. Like why do you think there's so many damn jeans? Yeah, there's a million cuts of jeans, right? Jeans are the best example of like just one type of pant, but it's actually a million types of pants, right?
Yeah. Like the one group, I think, and the chat's probably this out, the one group that actually has like tight pants is Ninetales. The Ninetales are the only ones who have nice like showy off pants, which are on
because their name's Nine Tails. Like their tails better look good. I'm just saying
they got the cake.
It should be a requirement for the game. like sorry if that dump truck ain't dumping, baby. Like it's not you can't be in the Nine Tails.
And they already have
go do some squats. Go see Buster New Babbage for some Squadron 42 and then come back to us.
There we go. And then they even have the pink leopard pattern like shirt that they go with the little digital tie thing. It's great.
Yeah.
I was also gonna bring up like denim. Like someone in chat's brought up denim. Like there's no denim in the game.
Except the only person in the game that ever wears denim, and he's not even in the game at large, is Jax McCleary.
Yeah.
He's the only person I think I've ever seen in any cinematic of any kind wearing jeans.
And
they look great.
Yeah. But like let's think about this. Like we're going into like say Pyro, right? There's an entire faction called Citizens for Pyro, which are about UEE citizens going into Pyro to try to gentrify the region. They're frontiersmen. They should have jeans. Like they should be wearing jeans. They shouldn't be wearing slacks or cargo pants. They should have jeans or a jean jacket or some sort of
something a little more rugged and
frontier.
Yeah. And what do jeans in the future look like?
Yeah. Like and they have artists and designers who are talented and crazy. Let them go crazy,
It's I don't know. I'll say what I think they could be doing better on is, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, is I'd like to see some of the older. I really love, and I know there's so much older assets, and they've talked about it before, and I know it's a huge undertaking, but it's like it'd be nice to see them like kind of really work, and they have a little bit. I feel like the hats have gotten better with the new hair tech.
Yeah, but that was gonna be my complaint.
Yeah, the new hair tech like has improved the hat situation because it always looks stupid like on the female model to even wear a hat because it's just like, oh, like my hair doesn't hang out of my hat. Like this is rude.
Yeah,
so rude. But yeah, I really want to see more with the hats too, personally. Like there's like 3 or 4 styles of hat, and it's always like, I don't know.
It's trucker hat.
I've always wanted to see like like a true fascinator or like just
fitted hat. I'd like to see a fitted hat.
What's a fitted hat?
Like a baseball cap but sized for your head so it doesn't look awkwardly tall or anything
like that.
Yeah,
because they always have like, I forget the style, but it's like those ones that are like more like flat almost on the top.
Yeah,
those are generally the types of ball caps. A true ball cap. So a true ball cap. Just I don't know, like a cowboy hat. Like give me a what does a Stetson from like the 30th century?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 30th century look like? Like that is a question I want answered. And it better not have a bunch of dumb LED lights in it. I just wanted to I don't want to be like cyber cowboy.
What is
have a cyber cowboy hat that actually would be cool to have, but I want a real I just want a Stetson.
What is a hat made out of Kazi Grazer leather look like?
Oh man, that too. That would be I mean,
or boots made out of kazi leather.
And
what's illegal
top?
storm walls? Illegal storm wall leather.
Like yeah, and the thing is like if you're a storm wall like poacher hunter person, if you're a whaler, right? Like your hat probably has a different like fold to it, like than like the hat of somebody who's like a kazi rancher, right?
Yeah.
So like, because like think about that, like in Australia, like because I always think of like Australia versus like the Southwest United States, like they have their totally different hat styles, but the same base for the most part. They just fold it different, and then same thing in like the South. Like you're from Tennessee, you fold your hat different than somebody from Texas.
Oh yeah,
or whatever, or not fold, but get shaped. If y'all know about this, when you go get a cowboy hat or a cowboy lady hat, you get like they usually shape it for you depending on how you want the bends to look, right? Even on the top part. So a lot of hats just come out really plain, and the craftsmanship after the hat's been made is how you shape it for the wearer. So
yeah,
if you didn't know, chat, if some of you may not be from places where that's a thing. So
and that's the reason why a lot of them are made out of felt, because felt can be bent after the fact and
exactly. But it's like high quality felt. That's why you don't. Yeah, and then leather hats, it's like that. You're keeping it like that forever.
Yeah,
you get it reshaped.
Leather looks like leather, dudes, but leather is very different. Different types of leather is very different.
Again, cowboy culture. I mean, go to a Western store and look at all boots.
Yeah.
Look at the boot spot by what kind of hide it is. It is a vastly different boot. If we're vastly different purpose sometimes.
Yeah.
Some boots are dancing boots. Okay. Yeah. They're fancy. You got fancy dancing boots.
Back to the hats for just a moment. I mean, just even, okay, you got the different style hats. The more coverage it gives, the more it should give you some protection from heat and sun.
Yeah.
You know, that's a classic example of like adding utility to these pieces of clothing.
Yeah. And that's the reason.
And it makes the diversity of the fauna more interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say hats is a big thing for me because like, there's also a lot of different types of hats. And as we talk about like hats, the reason why people wear wide-brimmed hats historically is because it keeps the sun off their shoulders, their back, and their face. So you don't get burns. And, you know, there's the classic sort of kind of like straw hat, like rice hat that's kind of peaked. And it's kind of like a circular that's used for a lot of farmers, especially in East Asia. Because it's just a simple design you could do, like something they could play with that design. You know, the classic sombrero, the gosh, I'm trying to think of some of the
what is it? Not
there's like a Bedouin headscarf that they do a lot because they like the Bedouins are desert survivivors, so a lot of their clothing is designed around heat like rejection and retaining sweat and making sweat wick a little bit more. You know, there's a lot of different like practical utilitarian hats and also more stylish versions that CIG could start adding into those things. Because I also wanted, I think that's the one thing that CIG is not doing well now, which I know they're pushing forward to, which is making fashion not just a fashion choice. Don't just make it as something that it's just like, oh, it's you want to look nice, but also have it
has a function.
It has a function. As
you wear it for a reason, because even fashion that's for aesthetic has a function, right? Even like then there's fashion that's for like work. There's fashion and really all fashion is for work. You're always working.
You're always working. Work it.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like there's fashion for being at home. There's fashion for going out. There's fashion for what you're doing at your job. There's fashion for, you know, specific events in life, right? Weddings, funerals, all that. And not that, you know, some people don't get that involved in the game, and I get why. But the thing is the availability of it is important.
And I think that's it's the classic problem there's not enough like feminine attire, but I think there's just not enough attire in general.
Yeah.
And the fact that it doesn't matter. Like so many people are going to go with the practical reason of why do they wear full suits of armor and carry gigantic weapons into a landing zone, because it's a pain in the ass to remove all of that stuff and put on clothing, even if you want to, just because you just forget about it. And
it's like, and then that kind of goes in, I think that all kind of ties into the inventory system.
Yes.
Right. So we can talk about that later, but like obviously there's thoughts on how to make that a much more convenient process
Yeah.
to swap outfits.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's kind of move towards that, because the next one I want to talk about was like what are things that CIG can do to improve this? What are some ideas that we can float and hopefully kind of work with Star Citizen as it is and how CIG wants it to be, that can also incorporate more of these fashion ideas, or like what ideas fashion can kind of give. So Buster, go ahead and start off that. You said you want to talk about the inventory. Let's talk a little bit about
the inventory. And there's a lot of games that you can play. Like a Cyberpunk is always the fresh example on my mind, where you could swap outfits. Like you can just have like a few outfits set up, like 6 in a Cyberpunk, and you can swap between them at will, like as long as you stop by somewhere where you can change. Which I think is a fair limitation. Like I need to go somewhere to change my outfit, right? But specific for it, but like that's something I would really like to see eventually in the inventory, because like it's such a pain in the ass when like most of the time what you can like just remove your jumpsuit and that pulls everything off of you, right? But then when you're putting it back on, a lot of the time it's not like I can just shuffle that jumpsuit back on and it all pops back on me. Like I have to piece by piece come get all these pieces, like either equip them or drag them over, right? Like, and that's all. I mean, I know that's like not a new idea. That's not a unique idea. And I hope that's something they're working toward. And I know a lot of people, like I see that the chat's going off like crazy.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably, I'm going to assume a lot of people would love one-click suit lockers as one Blazimbo put it. Yeah, like it would be cool. And I'm sorry, like I'm just like I don't care if like I go to like one port, because I actually would like that with the idea of what Reggie was talking about earlier, like regional clothing styles, because we already Reggie explained, we already have that in the game to a certain degree. Right?
Yeah, planetary system level. Yeah.
Right. And so like that is totally fair to me that I go like I come from New Babbage in a New Babbage outfit, right? And then I go to Lorville, and then like when I'm trying to swap outfits for Lorville, I have only my Lorville outfits. And if I leave that New Babbage outfit there and I leave in the Lorville outfit, well, that's that specific outfit I wore over from is there now. So that's cool. Like I'm all about that. Like that there would be things that I would want available to me all the time, but I understand like what they're trying to do and why that's not going to work that way. But yeah, and I would love the ability to have your stuff move from a port. Like, hey, like I'm, if I'm like over like in another system, and I'm like, oh, I really wanted some of this stuff that I had over there. And like maybe it takes like a full in-game day or two or something, or a few hours, like actual real-time hours for it to arrive. I'm okay with that. But like if I'm setting up base somewhere and I couldn't bring everything, I would love to be able to order that stuff, like to be moved, whether it's by another player that can make the money on it, or it's like just kind of like some internal like process, kind of like like a timer, like jail, right? It's like clothing jail, like the jail's in clothes. It's actually it's in shipment jail. So I would love that. I think that would be something great.
That's probably part of the Genesis Starliner system. So that ship can carry cargo as well as passengers in different configurations if they stick to what they've said. It's been a long time, but there's going to be ways for players to buy a ticket just like the NPCs and fly to other locations, and it would make sense that your cargo could also be transported that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Reggie, any other ideas that you want to see going forward?
Buster really covered it very well with the idea the suit lockers are great, but we need a way to kind of do these fashion clothing movements and be able to easily use it. Click, click, click.
Yeah.
I think one of the other things to factor in is with the fashion, it does bring into utility. I think you both mentioned that. And in the utility side, clothing will have less wear and tear. I think a full set of armor you're walking around with, you won't be able to sit certain places, you won't be able to do certain things or drive certain vehicles. Clothing doesn't have those restrictions. In addition, I think that a set of clothing, if it gets torn up and ripped up and worn down over time, is going to be very cheap to replace or repair versus a full set of armor and undersuit and all the systems that goes into that.
Yeah. The wear and tear system is something people don't realize. Like their armor is going to start chipping and damaging. And so if you wear your undersuit everywhere you go, it has a higher chance of snagging and maybe losing your oxygen faster because you've got a hole in it, versus if you wore your jumpsuit and then you right before you're going into combat, you swap into your undersuit, so you have a reason to switch rather than just like hang it out in your super heavy armor, looking like you're about to assault, Fort Knox to steal something.
Yeah.
I will also say this has been brought up in my chat before, and this is going to sound so petty, but underwear changing. We need to be able to customize our underwear.
That's not petty. No, because listen, Linda. Okay?
Linda, listen. Linda, honey, listen.
Listen, all you Lindas, all right? That little boy, I will always say, listen, that little boy. But the thing is I agree with you, because I'm sorry, like, if I'm going out, like, I mean, I do appreciate, like, I will say, I do appreciate on the feminine model that it is at least a strapless bra.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's obviously the lowest, like, of like impacting like the way your outfit looks. Like, it's
if
a
you
good,
have anything up there, yeah.
Like, I should be wearing one with this top, but like the thing is like, yeah, being able to have at least different colors, like, oh my gosh, because I would never wear dark underwear with a light outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's like such a real world like thing, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, if I'm gonna have to take my clothes off in the middle of the freaking spaceport just to change an outfit instead of having a locker I could go to that could instantly swap it, I mean, the least you could do for a CIG is give us the ability to choose the color of underwear. So at least if there's a conversation started by somebody about me being in my underwear, I can at least have an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as much as the thing I really want to emphasize about this, talking about these sorts of things, and this is for the Star Citizen community as much as it's for CIG. The end game of every MMO is fashion. Your customization is a social aspect. It is a status symbol. There's so many different like aspects to how fashion works. Everyone who plays Warframe knows that fashion frame is the end game. Anyone who plays any sorts of MMO will tell you that it's all about that. Like Destiny is all about your customizations and all that sort of thing. Like getting stats is you grind to get your stats, but once you get your gear, your raid gear, your regular gear or whatever, then you make it pretty. And that's always the status after that one. That's something, but that's something that's simple. And as the people are saying, it should be the lowest priority possible. I also always have to say this, because whenever we talk about these sorts of things, someone always goes, let's get the game functioning before we talk about fashion. But it's like, we're talking about fundamental aspects, like clothing being able to swap out of an outfit system. That's a gameplay feature. That's not a nice thing to have a feature. That's a gameplay feature for things like wear and tear. Being able to choose different underwear is like, it's an aesthetic thing, but it's also, they're going to have to build some sort of technology to allow that sort of thing to happen.
And I will say, as somebody who often doesn't wear a shirt but does wear a jacket in game, that's another reason I would like change the color of my underwear. Yeah, at the very least. I liked what somebody, by the way, I just wanted to point out somebody in chat, and I just think this is like one of the funniest things I've heard today. Risto Squared said, I can wear makeup, but I can't change my panties.
Yes.
Sorry, it's so funny. It deserved attention.
I'm
sure Rajay's laughing, but has himself muted because he's very, very
composed. No, it's certainly a point, and it's more of like sorrow by this point that there's so few options. I mean, it's sad. Sad we even have to talk about it this way.
Well, and another point that I'd like to point out is this is where CIG can start adding definite gameplay prospects to this. We've talked about wear and tear being a thing. you could also look at things like if you want to recruit NPCs, they've talked about the idea of hygiene being an issue. So like that NPCs will have a hygiene loop and that players will have hygiene loops. So having the right hygiene may also be things like the right style. If you go to, let's just say Wally's on Microtech, you go to that bar, it's a club, there's a certain style and aesthetic there that's being done. If you don't wear the right aesthetic and you try to go to that bar to recruit, say...
The bartenders are kind of...
Yeah. They're kind of sketchy, but you know, but you go to recruit, like, say,
oh, you
like
must be a tourist.
Yeah, exactly.
I vote for snarky bartenders based on the way you're dressed at their bar.
I'm fine with that too. But like the thing about bars is that bars are a Chris Roberts game staple. Every Chris Roberts game has a bar.
Has a bar,
and it's plays
like
an
a
important
D&D game.
Yeah, and it plays an important role in the gameplay or the story. And one of the things that often is often done even in video games is if you want to hire a companion or you want to hire a crew member, you have to go to a place where they are. And a bar is a place where they are. So if you go to a place where there's some high level like engineer and they hang out at this bar and you want to go recruit them, you show up in stuff looking like you're from Lorville, they might not even talk to you. Those sorts of aspects. Because those are things that matter, and those are things that you can add some complexity and density to it, so it's a little bit more of having the right opinion. You know, maybe not wearing the right clothing might set off certain mission givers, so it becomes a little different, and also unlocks clothing. If you work for a mission giver, you can maybe get, you know, unique uniforms or unique clothing pieces to kind of identify you even to other people around you as, oh, you're part of the Otoni Syndicate. Like, we're not going to mess with you. Or another Otoni Syndicate member being like, I see you. Because they want to do that sort of stuff with reputation. And those sorts of things can have it as well.
Yeah.
And I was just said the last one I was going to say about that was... Why am I kind of trying to I'm blanking on what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different ways that CIG can start. Oh, that's what it was. Profession. Crafting profession. We're getting crafting in the game. And one of the big kind of, I think it's an underselling. It's a not really a well-remembered mechanic, though I could be wrong on this one, of Star Wars Galaxies. They had a tailor profession where you could build your own clothing and stuff like that. And I think, Buster, you talked about this earlier with things like making clothing for things like Animal Crossing. You know?
Yeah. Like I actually have designed, like, back when I used to play Animal Crossing, the new one, what's it called? New Horizons or whatever.
New Horizons, I think, yeah.
Yeah, which super cute game. But I used to like make like all of these clothes. At one point, I had designed like that year that Jaylee did like those military uniforms, right? Those we have two of them in subscriber gear. Like it's one's blue, one's red, and they're kind of Messer era. They're supposed to be Messer era uniforms, I believe.
Yeah.
If you're a subscriber and you have been for a while, you have them in your hangar. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like I made those in Animal Crossing that weekend. Like you know what I mean? Like I get that designing clothing in the game, like there's a lot of things like to do. There's a whole thing behind that. So I'm not gonna like personally put that on the table, something I must have. But you know, maybe down the line, like even after release, that's something I would love to see. Like, oh, there's some basic like shirt designs and stuff, and you could kind of goof off with them or something.
And that could be a thing where like you get a design,
and the white one,
there's like a design like blueprint you could get from, say, a reputation mission. So now you could craft your own, you know, version of this uniform, or
you could have in-game assets to like put on a t-shirt or something, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like things that you could make your shirt the way you want,
or customize.
Tear it up. You could tear it up. You can.
Literally, just have clothes with word logos on it would be a huge
please. If they ever give us a mechanic like that, please allow us to bimboify. Clothes.
Get that tear off t-shirt,
tear it up.
You know, cut off jeans.
Oh my god.
You know. What was the other one?
I get so much trouble.
also add more things, like take a shirt that's like a shirt you like, and then be able to add like pockets to make it like a utility vest, like to add like cargo parts to it. They've already talked about that idea with their like bag thing they want to do, where you can add bags to various parts of the armor and stuff like that. But clothing would work too. And of course, go ahead, Roger.
I keep forgetting, like, okay, the cargo inside the cargo containers. If we can deploy containers now, why not have a tailoring station that you can deploy into your cargo hold, and then you can change up the clothing at the very least, and then add those type of things, like stitch on different pockets and stuff. That'd be really nice for a lot of people's practicality.
Yeah. What was this? Is the last thing I was going to say is, and I'm blanking on that again.
I'm seeing an ad for a Weber slate on your channel right now, and I want one. I want one.
Oh,
I want to make breakfast outside when it's not hot. Sorry.
Oh, I forgot about those. Yeah. Yeah, but I like customized clothing options and different kind of future things for those sorts of ideas. So like, yeah, I think there's a lot of gameplay mechanics which CIG's already talked about that would feed into some of these ideas. Yeah. And I do think that a lot of these ideas may be coming in the future, but right now it's kind of limited, and I'm excited for the future, but I'm really hoping that they kind of focus on some of these aspects, at least once they get some of the basic things like server meshing in. These are things you want to move forward to, because you got Pyro. If you're going to go work for a gang in Pyro and become a member of a gang in Pyro, if you're getting like tattoos, why would I want to just wear what the gang has? Why couldn't I just wear what I want to wear that's also got the gang logos on it, or the gang style in that, like a t-shirt that has the gang style, or like a leather jacket that has the gang logo on it, or something like that. So, yay. Let's go for a fun last little bit. Pie in the sky idea, something that will never happen, but you'd love to see in Star Citizen in regards to kind of fashion. Reggie.
Okay, so one of the biggest things for me with fashion would be like a chameleon style shirt and pants that can change colors. It would be really cool to see something like that. Like, we're in the future. It would cost more. It would cost more to maintain it, but it can change colors. And I could see a military version of that that's like a chameleon style suit, like a modern, like a futuristic ghillie suit, and that would be fun too. But to the fashion side of it, it would be cool to see like this was like snuck out of the UE Navy from 100 years ago, and now it's now you use it to look good with your friends,
Yeah.
And it's like this fun tactical to practical type thing. It would be fun to see that. And another thing that I would love to see with fashion is like people that are like really like, the what's that bird? The peacocks of the group that would have like most people are always chatting about how the Moby Glass is not private enough and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be funny if some people had like hats that had Moby Glass type huge tickers that show off their stock investments and their ships and stuff.
It's actually really funny.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be the opposite. It's just a play
kind of
on
like
it.
kind of like those shirts
This is how much
that
money
have,
I
like,
have.
Updating
like,
money tag. Yeah.
How do
like
you
those
do,
shirts
fellow
at
brethren?
Apparelli with like the video game, but like it has like stock, like your stocks on it.
Yes.
Did they talk about it? Boy, I swear they did.
Yeah, they've talked about the ideas having like digital, because you have digital clothing, like the there's a couple of them in there, including like the Ninetales, like had their tie for their is actually just a digital display. So
yeah,
but yeah, that's great. I like that idea.
That is so funny.
Buster, pie in the sky, crazy ideas that may never actually come in, but you'd love to see for Star Citizen for fashion.
I've always had this like vision in my mind, and I know exactly what it looks like, and it is like this big ball gown. It is just like this insanely big ball gown, like Met Gala kind of ball gown,
Aw.
and it's like got it's like black And it makes me think of, I can't remember who it was in Wonder Woman lore, but I can't remember. It was like a Wonder Woman or something at some point. And she had this outfit, I always remember in the comic books, where she had like this black dress, but like it was like stars, like actual stars were in the dress. So like it had this shimmer to it, right? Because it's like, it looks like her dress was outer space.
Yeah.
And some of y'all might be enough of like DC fans, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. So please call it out in the chat if you do. But I've always wanted to like have a big giant black gown that has like a huge train, and it'd be like something worth ridiculous amounts of money in the game. Like it'd be more expensive than some ships in the game just for fun.
Buster,
And
what? Parts of the pyro's exploding star. So when the CME injections happen, people have to capture the pieces, and that's the shimmering parts of the dress.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. Like a dress that just looks like you know, like Vanta Black.
Yeah.
You ever seen Vanta
super
Black?
black.
Because it absorbs light, right?
Yeah.
And that's what space does. It absorbs light. That's why we can see stars so well, right? As far as I understand. Yeah. I could be wrong. But like that, like I want it to be such a like a deep black that like the stars are just insanely, like it looks so it just blows your mind. And as it moves, it's like not like, I don't know, it's fluid somehow. Yeah. Like I don't know.
Like the stars move on the dress rather than just like the
Cyberwolf on YouTube called it out, Donna Troy. So you know what I'm talking about.
It's an iconic ball gown. Teen Titans. She was the junior Wonder Woman. Okay, yeah.
It's like that, but like way huge, And I'm thinking like, you know, some kind of shoulder. Like that's where it would be different. Is like the shoulder strap. Be like nice ruffly. I'm sorry.
You're going into detail. That's fine. That's
good.
It
would have like a shoulder strap that's like silver or something, you know, like a really chromy, not super chromy, but like silver or rhinestone, like that dress I had at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
But that's where it would be. It would have like the little bunch spots.
Yeah.
And it would have like maybe a piece here and matching pieces, and then like, you know, you just dress it with like a really nice bracelet or like some bracelets. And no necklace, because it's the kind of dress you shouldn't have a necklace with, especially if it has the shoulder, and then like some really good earrings, like, and maybe the earrings are kind of like that heart of the Star Citizen logo, you know, that star.
Yeah.
So, and then like maybe a headband of some kind, because it comes from a Wonder Woman idea. So
there's enough nerds at CIG, I could see them do something like that. So
yeah, oh my god, yeah, like the Void dress. Like it would just, and then you could even have it like, it doesn't have to be all like this beautiful like kind of Grecian thing either. It can be like this kind of dark thing too. Like what? And also another pipe dream, I would love them to see me put my spider dress that I wear for Venefica. I would love to see them put that in the game one day. Sorry, but CIG, if you need a design, you could just like look at my pictures. For CitizenCon.
I'm gonna pull this up because Cyberwolf actually has a link to the dress. I'll put it in our chat real quickly.
But yeah,
this is the superhero version of that. So it's not like the full like gown, but it's her like outfit.
Yeah, like that. Like I've always loved that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Imagine that as like a giant, like beautiful gown.
Yeah.
And it's almost scary how much of a void it looks like. Like that would be so cool. The void gown.
My like crazy idea they'll never do is let us get our own logos, our own dyes, and our own like style. So like you can like get like a template of like a vest, and then go through and like stretch the vest out, and then kind of like draw like you know specific like piping on it or here, like change out the button styles and all that kind of stuff, like super detailed, and add whatever logo you can do, or you can draw those designs. They'll never do it because time to penis would be hard, and also the serious issues of copyright, because so many people would start making like Star Wars logos and other things like that, like actual like copywritten IP stuff. So so but that was pie in the sky idea for that one.
Can I Paul, can I build on that for 1 sec?
Sure.
So long time ago, like the kid version of me was making a couple dollars on IMVU, and after that VR chat, but that's a topic for another story. But in IMVU, they had an approval process, so you had to start with an attributed item. It could be from IMVU, or it could be an item a player already modified, and then you got permission from that player. It was an attributable item, and it tracked how much value you added to it, and then it was approved for sale. So it is possible to me that they could have a program, maybe put it in the hub where people can upvote certain ideas, and then the top, let's say 50 each month, are hand reviewed by CIG to make sure they're not copyright material. Or they're inverse. You could even just make that a rule. It has to be inverse items, topics and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that could work, but it's also it's going to cost CIG money. Like they're going to actually have to pay for somebody to have that approval and going to go over that and sort of things. But of course, if they're paying for it, that could also pay for that person's job. I also, another pie in the sky idea, which I think could work, but I don't know if CIG will do it, is I've said for many, many times that if you gave us a CDF leather jacket, like a bomber jacket that's CDF, and with like a big patch in the back that's like a CDF patch, and then have like rockers or different places where you could place patches, and every time a player participates in a CDF event, if they get enough reputation, they get like a patch that they can add to that jacket, so they can you can see players who've been like, oh yeah, I've been here since the first Xenothreat attack, and then you have like a full, because like a lot of military guys have that, like where they'll have like patches from all of their different actions and stuff like that like on their on like a jacket or on a some sort of attachment to that. So that sort of system where you could like attach patches or attach other pieces of equipment. And also, like, I don't think this is a pie in the sky idea, but jewelry. I don't think we even have jewelry. Like necklaces and bracelets and earrings or piercings.
Piercings is coming in the character creator, so there's that. So we will get like at least jewelry of this region.
Yes.
Of the body. But yeah, and somebody in chat's like saying, moderation isn't worth it because their company got sued by a fashion company because the player created content with that company's logo. So I don't think CIG would ever open themselves up to something like that.
No.
I think they're pretty, they I don't think so. But I always another pie in the sky I always thought it'd be really cool is like, especially like after release, right? Especially if Squadron and like and Star Citizen, I would love to see like down the line, like after release again, like if some like maybe like they had some kind of partnership with like some fashion designer, right, where they're like making some kind of actual, like it's one of those real world things where they're going through them, like that, they're getting like a makeup palette made or like some piece of clothing made with like whoever, and then in game that brand like designs something that goes into the game too in turn, like as in, oh, like, we're making real world fashion for you. Well, here's like a kind of higher fashion thing that one of like, some top, so like an actual like famous designer, like somebody of note designs for the game and then maybe makes like one of in person. That would be such a cool promotion.
Yeah,
imagine like you could auction the gown for like charity or something or whatever. I would just imagine it's a gown.
Yes.
or
a custom suit for charity or something like that.
A charity fashion show too. You could do all kinds of stuff with that. I just love stuff like that. I would love that.
That's I mean, yeah, you and I have the same mindset of that sort of thing. We know that kind of thing can get attention online. If it can get attention online,
till more ladies.
Yes.
Star Citizen.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll also finish this up by saying
I think our presence will help push this forward.
Yes. One of the things that that really inspired me to have this conversation as well is, I believe it's Final Fantasy XIV. We're still getting updates. It's pretty popular. I know somebody who is a content creator who on Fridays has their own club inside Final Fantasy XIV. It's their own dance club. And players will come to the dance club if they're invited, and they will show off their latest attire or whatever they put together. And they'll actually dance because the emote system in Final Fantasy XIV is very good. They'll dance and hang out, and they're the guy who's the content creator, the streamer, will actually DJ and broadcast the music inside the game. So like they have like lights and all sorts of things. I don't play Final Fantasy 14. I just know I have a lot of friends who do. So that's how I get. There's also some crossover between FF14 and Star Citizen. It's bigger than you think. And that kind of idea is like, I'd love to see something like that. Social events where players can show off different fashion stuff and get that social aspect of the game beyond just, I have a gun and I want to shoot you in the face. Not to say that I have a gun and I want to shoot you in the face isn't an important thing. Buster is famous. If you've ever watched my Jumptown lore video, she actually voiced herself her own quote about Jumptown. And I think Buster nailed it when that. It was like, Jumptown's about chaos. It was about shooting people in the face, and
looking good doing it.
Yeah, and then that, and I think that's the key is it should be all about the chaos and the violence and the craziness and the engagement and all it like immersion gameplay, but looking good while you're doing it. You know, would it be nearly as would the Fallout TV series been nearly as cool if the ghoul didn't have that cowboy aesthetic to him, or you know. Those sorts of ideas. Like looking cool is like half the whole content of those sorts of things. So with that, we'll move on to the question and answer session so we can answer questions on there. If you enjoyed this so far, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more content, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, where I do live other things than this, and comment down below your thoughts on fashion, on what you'd like to see in fashion and clothing lines and stuff like that. And
how much, what nail color do you want?
There we go.
What nail color would you put on your nails?
What kind of tattoos would you want to see? You know,
like what's on your, well, who are you wearing?
Who are you wearing?
Might have a very different definition in Pyro.
Yeah.
Oh God! Oh Jesus! Oh no! Oh no!
And of course, check out Buster the Destroyer on twitch.tv/Buster the Destroyer, and you're Buster the Destroyer on YouTube as well, or Buster Destroyer?
I'm actually Buster Destroyer on YouTube, and that's something I'm going to start doing. I'm going to kind of do a little more YouTube content in the near future, I hope, and then especially around the character creator, because I'm super good at it. And seriously, if you need a character, come see me. I do them for free. I do it. I don't charge a dime, but if you want to give me a dime, I'll take it. Always.
And Red J, you just do YouTube, right? It's youtube.com/RedJ.
Yes, that's so the only place I'm at.
So make sure you check them out as well. We'll be back in 5 minutes. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I will be we will be stepping away for a couple minutes, but you'll hear us transition from one to another. We also have a podcast version for those of you who are watching this on Twitch or YouTube. So it's a little like low bit rate, so you don't have to worry about it. It should be a little bit more easier to listen to than having to pull up YouTube and all that kind of thing. And that is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much any other podcast you can find. So check us out there under the AstroPub podcasts. Now, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. we are back for our question and answer session. I'm going to pull up our questions. We currently have 6 questions, so if you want to ask any questions in chat, in YouTube, on Twitch, make sure you use the little redemption, which is the little coin icon. You click that, and you'll be Captain's Table question. Click that, and then just type in your question. Put your on YouTube, kind of give yourself some brackets question, and we'll kind of look at that one as well. So we can answer some of those questions as well. With Reggie and Buster here, we're talking about fashion in Star Citizen and Fashion Citizen, the future of Fashion Citizen. All right, Shimpasta asks, starting off, will we get different underwear in the future? God, I hope so.
We very much hope so.
Yeah.
It would be nice, not just different colors, but different styles too.
Yeah, different colors, different styles. Yeah.
I do not wear boy shorts.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and you can even go crazy, like you can do like Victorian era underwear where it's just like one like unitard.
That's too.
You want to go crazy.
That's too far, Paul. Got enough Victorian crap happening in the world right now. I don't need
more.
I want to add to that. Like, you could also have like usable underwear that are like cooling suits. Yeah. So let's say you like wearing lighter armors or medium armor, and you need to go to a hot place. Using a hot or cool suit or something underneath your set would be interesting. That's actually a real thing astronauts do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or G suits as well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Captain Fishsticks, who asks, do you think we could see players visit a tailor and get custom-made John Wick suit with ballistic lining, or other end of the spectrum, visit an armor smith for a set of custom medical armor or an org colors?
You know, I'm just going to warn you, when you have a tailor at a space station, they're not just a simple tailor.
They're just a simple tailor. I don't know what you're talking about.
Deep Space Nine joke for everybody. God, I would love him to be the voice of a tailor in the game. Oh my God. Or even just like a character in the game. I don't care. Oh God. No,
I would love for him to be a tailor mission giver who's just a simple tailor who has some simple jobs.
Just a simple tailor.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's not.
That's a great trope. I mean, it's literally a sci-fi trope, and CIG's all about adding like little tropes to the game. This would be a great one.
It's the greatest trope that Star Trek ever pulled into the universe.
Yes.
Yes.
100%. But yeah, I could see. We already have custom ship shops with why am I blanking his name? He has the custom ship shop in Orison. Cousin Crows. Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Cousin
yeah.
Crows. So I wouldn't, and CIG wants to kind of move towards like customization of like the high-end customization to those like specific locations. If players are basically just ships in terms of like how they're treating them in terms of, you know, resources and wear and tear and all these other ideas, I don't see why getting a custom shop. It's always bothered me that you have to wear an undersuit to wear armor, because like it just doesn't work. Like I'd love to see being able to wear like a light armor under like a jacket, so you have like some protection and those sorts of things. So, but yeah.
One of the big things. Sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the big things about armor in general in real life is that it creates a certain profile. So if somebody's looking at you on a ridgeline or something, to get military talk for a second, if you're wearing a big old Passac helmet or whatever the heck kind of version, ACH cut, whatever, all those helmets make you stick out like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. So being able to wear something that breaks up that human image of an armored soldier will give you an advantage in some times. And there's times where like you might want to wear a little bit of gear and go, look, I don't know what I'm walking into, but I don't want to look like I'm invading the place. Yeah. You know, I'm going to this nice little outpost. I'm trying to be respectful. Being able to be very minimalist with your armor and still be able to feel that you're okay, you're going to be okay if something goes down, is nice.
Yeah. And well, yes, while I want body armor, the thing is a lot of the light suits, the light armor, like chest pieces, for instance, there's been bugs that you can wear the chest piece under your suit because there's an invisible suit. There was like an invisible what is it called? An invisible undersuit that was bugged out that would make it so you could wear clothing over it. And so you would have, but you could still attach armor to it. So you could put like armor, and then you could also put like a vest over it, or like a jacket over it, so you could cover it. And there's been multiple people who've kind of showed this software. Like, it looks good. Like it actually looks proportioned, where you can put a jacket over it and it covers up most of that armor. So there's already armor pieces in the game which could work with the current system we have. It's just so weird that we have this like separate system compared to like what we could do. Yeah, and Chris, yeah, I was literally responding to Buster because I've never been able to make salt and pepper hair work with the hair customizer, and Buster was like, bet, and
I was,
yeah. So,
yeah, it's on my Twitter. I'm sorry, I'll have to dig through some. But yeah, if you go find that post or that reply from Paul, I quote tweeted it and said, "You were wrong." I was like, "Hey, bestie,
you're wrong.
You were wrong." Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.
I said it earlier. It's actually the model I use in game right now. So if you see me walking around in game, that's the model I'm using. So, but yeah. So like, I can see some of those, but I could also see like clothing that has extra like armor to it, or armor that's like custom designed for specific purposes, or maybe having specific like slots.
I think it should be fair that like any light armor can fit over clothing. I think that should be like an in-game mechanic rule. I think once you get into medium and heavy, that's too. I think that should be limited to you must have a thing on. That's just me. But I don't. But I think because you should be able to wear some light armor pieces, and maybe not like a full suit necessarily, but I don't know,
a chest piece.
Like I remember that bug years and years ago where the armor was, and I know it came back, it resurfaced recently, but that there was a bug years ago for like a whole patch where you could wear armor over your clothes, and it was the best time. Everybody looked fantastic.
Yeah. Because you could customize by wearing armor, then wearing that long duster outfit, duster jacket over it, and was like, yeah, I look like an actual space cowboy,
Heck yeah.
All right, next question from YouTube. Who asked, where are you? I saw it earlier. No, I think it was Chris who's just not talking about it. All right, so let's pull this question from Twitch. Iris Dreadtide says, "Hey, speaking of org colors, what's everyone's org colors? Do you have a uniform?" My org does not have a uniform. It is violence and archaeology is our uniform. But do Buster? Are you part of an org that has a uniform or anything like that?
No, they can't tell me what to wear. The only man that's ever allowed to tell me what to do with my body is Bob Fosse, and he's dead. Sorry. It's an old. There's a theater joke for you.
So in general, I have a small org with a few friends in it, and a few that are keep it private, and a few that haven't joined yet because they basically are just playing the game on the My Hangar section of their website.
Yeah.
But when we do have a few folks form up, it's usually white armor. Usually, it's pretty common. It's easy to come by, and most people, the minute they get armor, they try not to wear white, which makes it a little easier to friend or foe. Like, hey, who's wandering onto the ship in this brown colored armor?
Yeah.
That's about as far as it goes. So I know some orgs are really big into that stuff. I would say that I certainly get it. And I think of Vanguard, for example. I know a few folks over there, and they're great folks, and they are incredibly they have armor and clothing options for the different parts of their organization, to differentiate their indie from their military it's really cool stuff. So I get it, I respect it, but at the same time, we just use it as like, hey, who's walking on the ship that's not wearing white?
Yeah. I two pans in chat, the Imperial Arms does that. The immobile infantry hat does that. The Med Runners famously have that, So, Iris did also kind of emphasize that, hey, if you could have org colors, what would you do? And I'm me, so if I force our Ord colors, it would be Imperial Purple. Imperial Purple and maybe Gold. Because what else is best for an organization just designed to find rare artifacts and take them from people who aren't treating them well? But yeah, let's move on to the next question. Shampasta asks, will we get furry suits in Star Citizen? No, but you will get to play a space bird at some point. So,
I would love for there to be furs in the game.
Yeah.
We were talking about leather earlier. I mean,
yeah,
doesn't
actual
mean
fur
I
clothing.
want full fur suits, but what I
Yeah.
mean, like fur pieces. I would love like a collar on something that's like got a big fur collar or whatever, or what is it called? The ladies put their hands in a muff.
A muff, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I love a good muff.
Double entendre.
What? Wait, what? What does a muff mean?
The build on the Tavares.
I don't want to know.
Okay,
I don't want to know.
Go ahead,
I will tell you. I will tell you in Discord.
Message me.
I'll message you Discord.
To build on the Tavares. I'm steering this boat back on the course. To build on the Tavares. I think that there's a huge opportunity for CIG with clothing and armors and such to set one of the alien races that isn't Banu, so Tavaran or Shian, to make them the same height as humans. So the male of the alien race is the same height as a male that's a human, and the female is the same as such. You get the point. But if they did that, they could hyper speed up the ability to bring in an alien race. They could sit the same way as the human, they could dress the same way to a certain extent, and then you could start like localizing it for those specific races a little easier. That would be a really, really easy way to bring in a whole new race. And Tavaran would be a good option.
Yeah.
What do what do alien designers make for humans?
Mm-hmm.
Because
we've seen a little bit of that.
I think that's even been something mentioned in going back to Star Watcher. I think that's been something mentioned in Star Watcher. I remember there was a specific one where they're really going on about how like this like alien designer made this ball gown for this person, and the main character Callie C, who's like the host, that like is talking with some other commentator who's come on the show about the fashion, and they're like and they're like, oh, it's a little gaudy with all those like whatever crystals on it from whatever world. So yeah, that kind of makes me think about that. But because you're talking about dressing aliens and playing aliens, but I'm also thinking, what do aliens make? Like there's some really capitalistic aliens.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they try to design fashion for humans? Like
we've seen a little bit of that.
That's something they can make money on. Like, come on.
There's a subscriber gear, which is Banu t-shirts.
Yeah, it's Banu armor. Yeah.
Yeah. The Banu shirts are great because they're the ultimate like English. So it's like friends are the dreams we made along the way or something like that. It's Jail loves them. Jail made actually his own version of the shirts so that he could wear around because they thought they were hilarious. I'm gonna pull them up real quick so I can remember exactly what they are. But yeah, they're really good. But yeah, you're right. Like alien designers and what would that look like on
humans? Yeah,
on humans,
and also like materials from their worlds that like their cloth, their the things they use, that we would take and even use for our own purposes in our own culture. But yeah.
Let's search for Banu. There's no Banu. It's not in gear.
Don't the Banu have like shells?
That's Xi'an. That's Xi'an.
Xi'an.
Yeah.
I always get Banu and Xi'an mixed up. Oh my gosh! Even just this week, I was doing.
Banu are very tall. They have like a special kind of underwear, and it's complicated. Yeah,
they
they're interesting
fermented
creatures.
food. No, it was a Xi'an. Again, I do it every time. I like Xi'an ships. I'll tell you that.
But yeah. Let's move on to
for Xi'an being such like round-edged looking folk and silhouettes. They really have spiky, pointy ships.
Yeah.
And then the Banu are like these
Space
spiky,
crabs.
Pointy people.
Yeah.
And they've got round ships. It's just like, what? That's probably why I mix them up all the time. Like, that's probably the key.
It would be cool if they had like a quick emergency pair of shoes made by one of the alien races that you could just throw on your feet that are like tiny. Like in the inventory, they're extremely small, and your character like throws them onto the feet and they like grow around the foot to turn into a boot or something.
The
Ooh.
cruel shoes.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
The cruel shoes.
Gin and Tonic asks, for the things like logos to put t-shirts on or guild patches or other bomber jackets or nose art for your spaceships, couldn't CIG make all those paid items you pay a fee and have it reviewed or for imported? Then
Maybe.
then it's yours to do with what you will and give CIG an income stream for pure cosmetics. The fee would allow them to hire staff to approval. Yeah.
But they'd have to have a whole agreement with, like, there'd have to be a contract signed of, like, oh, if we use this logo, like, we're allowed to use it in our games or whatever. Like, they're gonna make you basically like, hey, like, kind of like the likeness, because I've signed a likeness contract with them. They can use my likeness, I think, with anytime they want, because that's like part of, Paul's probably signed one too.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I would think there would be a similar contract with that. They'd make you sign an agreement that says, like, hey, this better not be like, if we find that it's like a copy of another logo from like something that's copyrighted or whatever, it's too similar. There's a lot of weird that could go on with that, and that's tricky. But they could do it in theory, but will they want to? That's the question.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way we're getting it. Like, if you're not going to get the free ability to design your org logo, because that's going to lead to legal disputes, so.
And too many phallic things.
Too many penises. Just too many penises everywhere. Because.
You know what's funny is there's actually, and it's not even just like an intentional, like people would actually design them, but it's a common thing in design that certain like images like are just accidentally designed into images all of the time.
Yeah.
Because of the way a human brain works. Like, there's certain fascist logos, I think we could all agree. We all know what I'm talking about, that people actually accidentally design all of the time.
Yes.
And they realize, oh, our logo looks like that. And it's like, that happens. It's not even a malicious thing. It's a common design like mistake, especially that people new to that space make, or people that don't have a lot of experience in that space make. You have human review. Yeah, you have human review, but again, that's a job. That's a whole job. That's a whole paycheck.
Yeah.
That's where you have to think about it. Are we going to budget somebody, or are we going to hire somebody that does that? Or are we going to put that on somebody that already has a job?
Yeah. And also,
or a group of people that have a job.
It means they're going to have to charge higher prices than they may have to.
Can I add? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go, please.
There's one thing I think both of you are dancing around here with human review, higher prices. I think the one thing that would tie this all together is someone's suggestion I've been saying for years. Those shirts that you can buy for IAE, ILW, etc., and then you own them in game, sell them as real shirts in real life, and then you get the copy of it in game as well in your My Hangar, and that would open up a door in the future to have these type of designed clothings where you could get a copy in real life and get a copy in the game, and now all of a sudden the value proposition for CIG to have a human reviewing it and working through it is much higher, because now they have a whole merchandise they can line up with it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm okay. I've been saying for years that CIG is sleeping on money. Because like they have a Drake shirt, but it's like it's kind of got like a unique style to it. If they just did the Drake Interplanetary logo, if they sold me a Castak Arms logo shirt, I would buy one. I would buy one for every day of the week, because that's just my it's my brand. But like like they have a handful of things. They have RSI, they have Drake, and I think that's it. Because everything else, they're like, I don't even think they have an Anvil shirt. They have like a Polaris shirt, but like they don't really have like logo brands. They have an Origin shirt, but it's like an Origin like pullover, which is like, what? No, a shirt,
I had to I had to get my Crusader shirt off of Etsy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying anyone's good. I'm not recommending anyone. I'm just saying that's where I had to go, and it's that sad.
Yeah.
Merchandise.
It has too much overhead, but they could partner with companies who would do it for them. but they don't want to, which is like, but
Well,
yeah.
Well, it's also they're in a space right now. The game's not released yet, right? I think post release they would have a lot better. They'd have a lot better time with that because one, they're making money. Like they're finally making profit, not pledges anymore. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they make whatever. Obviously, they got to
still
feed,
profit,
they got to feed
but
people. That's not profit.
Yeah.
Feeding people ain't profit.
Yeah.
But they want to get to a point where they're a profitable company, right? So merchandise, I think, comes like closer to release or after release when there's a greater community that wants those things. And personally, like I've always been one of those people, like, please, for the love of God, like, can I please have a Star Citizen purse? Like, I'm the biggest proponent of God. I would love them to partner with brands in the future. Like, I would love for them to partner with like Coach and have a Star Citizen bag. I don't care if it's like $700 and I just stare at it at the window at Neiman's. I want it. I want to see that it exists. I can't afford a $700 purse. I never could in my life. But I hope it wouldn't be that much. I hope it'd be cheaper than that. But like I would love little things. Like I've always said, like I'd love like little decals. Like, and the thing is it's just it's weird with the community because it's like they have people that they're partner. Like they kind of have like, yes, you can make these things, but they're very tentative about who they choose and why. So it's.
Yeah.
I think post release we'll see maybe partnerships with existing brands.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I don't full disclosure. That's just me speculating and thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Midnight Black SC asks, what do you think Xi'an, Bennu, or even Tavaran fashion made for humans would look like? We already talked about that. Yeah.
We discuss that, but I think because I brought it up, but they probably had already asked the question.
Yeah.
I think it depends on like show me more Xi'an, show me those people, right? Show me those peoples of the verse more, and then I could have an opinion on it. I think obviously the culture, like the stuff they would make for humans would reflect what they wear.
Yeah.
In their own culture. And then maybe in some cases they'd have like designers that are like, ooh, human bodies are so different. I want to try something I've never tried before. Like that would be a thing. But like overall, I think they would just basically use specific designs and materials and patterns, like, and patterns is in like print pattern, not cut pattern. And maybe they would, maybe some of them would have a unique way of cutting human clothing patterns.
Just building on that slightly, like the Tavaran. They were very sneaky. They were using unconventional warfare against the humans during their two wars. It would be really cool if they wrote into the lore, like, oh, this sling bag was originally used during the Tavaran wars to like attack Nova tanks. They'd sneak up and drop the package and then run away. Now it's a piece of style clothing for people to walk around with.
And we have Tavaran. The best examples we have of human clothing in game, it's not clothing, it's the armor stuff we were just talking about. The Xi'an.
Yeah, armor.
The Xi'an armor, and then we also had Tavaran armor with I forgot about that, with the Prowler stuff when it came out, like the helmet and all that. And obviously it's like a very bird-like, like it reflects that race of Tavaran. It reflects their aesthetics and their colors of their bodies, their clothing, their armors.
Old mount points on the back where the sword used to be. Stuff like
that. Yeah. And so, Tavaran to me are like so fast. I can't wait to see Tavaran in the game because I would love to see somebody do really cool Tavaran cosplay at like with like the beak, and the movement and all that. Like that would be. Didn't the Tavaran like just dump their culture though after we beat them?
Yeah, but they've been pulling them back. They've been trying to kind of claw back their culture because we discovered an old Tavaran colony that had been abandoned before the first Tavaran War.
But why would they dump their culture? Like I don't understand what happened.
Because
is that just the way they are?
So their culture is very martial, and they have a kind of a very specific sort of philosophy to them, and they believe that philosophy made them good. And the second Tavaran.
So when they got beat, they were like, "Oh, well, our culture sucks now. So
basically,
let's drop it."
Well, because
that's sad.
The second Tavaran War was.
Oh no, my light went out.
It was led by a zealot, like a super religious zealot, and that led them to like they believed it was a holy war, and so when they lost, it was like we lost a holy war.
They were
it's
down
like a
bad.
crisis of faith. Yeah.
They were down bad.
Yeah, they felt like it was the end of time kind of thing. Like it was their Armageddon.
And babies.
Yeah, and they've been slowly sort of pulling it back, but there's a question. Like there's a lot of questions which are like, hey, is this like, do we want to go back to the old ways, or do we want to modify our old ways? And that's kind of a whole like story arc that's going on.
Oh, cool.
So
thanks,
like,
Paul.
No problem. Well, so like a bird, like a Tavaran culture, like Tavaran clothing would probably be split into two halves. Like the old ways, the Tavaran who want to go with the old ways would have older style clothing, and the new ways might be a human Tavaran hybrid fusion.
Right.
So, like,
makes sense.
like classic Tavaran, like maybe like a Tavaran, like we don't even know what they wear, but maybe like a jacket or like a cloak, but then underneath it it's like a suit, like a business suit. So like you have that. It's kind of like how you'll have in America. You often have people who wear cultural artifacts from where where their families come from, or from where their culture is, but also like modern business attire. Like where like what are those called? Like a headscarf, or like a shawl or whatever.
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of the word for it too.
Yeah, but they'll wear that, and then like it'll be like a full business attire, like from below. Like you wouldn't know the difference in anything. So, traditionalist garb with modest hybrid clothing. Yeah,
hijab. Sorry,
yeah.
I could not think of the word, and I know the word.
Yeah. A terrible bishop or terrible Anansi asks, how is this going to... Is this how you ask a question? Yes, that is how you ask a question.
Good job.
Cuban asks, what's the one thing you want in the character creator? Full character creation. Full body.
It's kind of a different thing, but...
Go ahead.
What's the one? Because is the only one.
We'll be here for a longer time if it's everything you want in the character creator.
Red
Buster,
J, you tell me, because like... Red J.
I would say up until a few, weeks or a month ago or something like that, it would have been eyebrow color, which was irritating the living heck out of me. And then with the latest patch cycle.
Really difference of eyebrows, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially as a redhead, like literally you could not change the color of eyebrows for the longest time. And it was like really annoying if you happen to have eyebrows that match your hair type of thing. I would say now, though, now that quest has been then attained, I would like to see a little more work on. We talked about earrings and piercings and such.
That's coming in 4.0.
I have to stick with one. So I'll say that. That's what I'm looking forward to most. I have to stick with one.
I'm not going to stick with one. One earlier I mentioned there needs to be a true red in the palette. Like the makeup palette needs to be better. It's great and it's a great start, but like I would like there to be like it's just all kind of across one thing. Like, look, I gotta make, somewhere I got makeup palettes on my desk. Like I got ones called like a romantic palette that's like a series of reds and purples, where I've got ones that are like more like I have a Klingons. I actually have a space set that has like a lot of like it has black, it has silvers, golds, like celestial kind of colors. Makeup palettes are in different set. Like they're not like just one. It's not like every makeup palette's like every color. It's like usually a group of colors. So I would like to see a greater diversity in the color. I don't mind it being one big thing, but I would like to be able to save palettes or create my own palettes of like, okay, I want like some warm, like I want a palette of specific type of colors for a specific, because I make so many characters. As somebody who makes characters in the character creator for other people, and literally like somebody tipped me $50 yesterday for one of the characters I created. Thank you, Patrick. But the thing is like for me, it's kind of becoming a job at this point. And so I need it, like my needs are maybe different. Like most people just want like to get their face done and be done. But like it's just making them like definitely bigger diversity in the colors. Need a true red, true primary colors. There aren't like, it's just not translating yet. And I get there's problems with that probably. But overall, like that, and I just, and this is my petty one I'll die on a hill about. They have a shader that, or they have a thing in the makeup palette that's called smoothness, right? It's actually matte versus
Gloss.
like gloss.
Yeah.
And to me, smoothness indicates like if I was doing foundation, right? Like smoothness would be like, how much primer did I put on to make my skin texture better, right? And so I would really like, definitely, that's a big one for me. That's just a small smoothness is probably the best word that I can't like for now, but it's matte versus gloss. It's matte / gloss. It's a scale of that. It's a spectrum of that. I know that's so petty. I'm sorry, CIG, but it's it drives me crazy.
Wobbly. I will address something. Wobbly Bear. Buster doesn't charge any money for character creation. It's just sometimes.
No, absolutely not. I do them for free. So if you want one, please, and you don't have, don't worry about it. I just had a few generous people that appreciated it. That's all.
She usually streams it as well, so it could also happen like that, where like you stream and somebody's like, "Here's money, thank you," kind of thing. So it's less of that.
Totally free of charge. I love doing it, and it gets me better at it. And I will retouch anybody's for 4.0 when there's more assets added.
Yeah.
So you're good. Do not feel like you can't ask me.
Please
ask me.
Before we switch to Paul, can I build on Buster's thought real quick? I want to give credit where credit is due. CIG has done a fantastic job on the way to load in the new characters, save them, and load them. Yes. Oh my goodness, this PTU cycle, I was able to actually just click, and go at every time I look like who I want to look like, and that is amazing. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, you're don't want to dog him. I'm not dogging anybody. I'm just totally at it. Like the character customizer is fantastic, and I love it. And I only say it with love because I see the little, like, I've done so many of them. The cracks. I see the cracks. You know what I mean?
All right. In terms of what I'd like to see, I'm gonna go with my I would love to see body customization, being able to adjust height and like
chat's been going off about that for the last 2 hours.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna. That's my serious question. The serious answer. The meme answer is.
Yeah, what's a meme answer?
Booty slider.
Booty slider.
Booty slider. Oh,
you're on front page. I can't twerk. Sorry.
They fixed.
Sorry.
They fixed the male model.
But why male models?
The male they fixed the male model, so the male model no longer has atrocious Hank Hill butt. It's not.
There's literally if y'all don't watch King of the Hill, people, I'm just telling you, there is a whole episode about Hank Hill's ass butt and how it causes him medical issues. So do squats. Squatcher 42. Okay, come see me. I actually wore my Squatcher 42 outfit to the Bar Citizen that everybody was leaving when I got there, so I looked really cute for the 5 people who saw me.
But I mean, like things like that. Like, and I know CIG has some problems with the ability of height and weight and that kind of thing, because they're gonna want to have like animation has to be more in, like it can't be canned animation. They have to have like bespoke.
They have to readjust all animation essentially. Yeah. And they talked about that. If you go back and you watch the SCL on the character creator from a few like a month or two ago.
Months ago, yeah.
That's a great. There's so many y'all's questions like that y'all have for us. I think you would be able to have them answered if you go back and watch that. And that's not me going, don't ask us. That's me saying, hey, they'll give you a better answer than we ever could, because all we can really do is quote them.
But they want to do it. It's something they want to do.
Yeah.
Like, because
they do. They understand. They get it.
But it's a system they have to build out, and they have to make it work and all that kind of stuff. So, and it's not lame excuses, really.
It's not lame excuses. That's a lot of work to do. Come on.
Anyone who's never done tried to do animation, I've done simple animation in the past. That thing takes fucking
That's not
hours.
a lame excuse. Sure, they're gonna find. They'll find 2010. They will. I'm sure they will absolutely find a way to work around it in a way where they can mass do it. They just have to figure out that it's like. They know the solution.
Yes.
They know what solution they need. They have to find what part of the equation it works.
And it's also a timing thing. Like right now.
Yeah, they can do server meshes. They'll figure it out. But at the same time, you have to give them time to do it. And I know we've been given a lot of time over the years, but It's not been a priority. Let's consider that too. It's
Mhm.
not been a priority. And also there's the ships, the assets. The assets have to find, like, that was originally the problem with the female model, right? That was the issue with the female model, is because they built a universe, and this is a lesson. Maybe this is a lesson for somebody out there in game dev. I don't know. I'm not a game dev. But they built a universe built around a male model that is 6'2"
6 foot.
or something?
It's like 6'1"
6
or
foot
6'2".
tall.
Yeah.
They had to find a way to make that universe work for a female model that's 5'8". So when you build a world, like, this is maybe a life lesson for anybody. If you build a world for men, women will not function in it properly. Right?
I mean,
maybe it's a lesson that goes beyond gaming. I don't know. Just
it's the same
think
reason
about that.
It's the same reason why the Starfarer and the Retaliator the Redeemer or not Redeemer. I hate that ship. But the Reclaimer. It's the same reason why the Starfarer and the Reclaimer are so broken and so bad, is because they're built for gameplays that they didn't have at the time. They built all of this universe out with one model, and then they then integrated the female model and went, oh fuck, all of the animations are broken, because you would go to push a button and this character's head is like here, whereas the male character's head is like here. So
3.5 was when we got the female model.
Yeah.
2018 or 19?
Yeah, it was like 2018. Yeah, it's fairly recent, and
I started streaming in 2018, so I think it was 2019.
2019?
Yeah. Because I remember being like, I'm sick of being a boy. Mm-hmm. I would always complain. I complained, and I never wore a shirt. That was like the thing I did as protest.
You just wear no shirt.
I would never wear a shirt until we had a female. And then the female model, I never wear a shirt either. So I always to look like Billy Idol.
We got five questions left. The next question is from Iris Dreadtide, who asks, what sort of armor customization options would you ask CIG for?
Ability to recolor them at my will.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's the most annoying aspect of armor is, I go over here and I like these MacFlex pieces, right? And they have them in dark red on the arms, but not the legs at the same place. Like, that drives me insane. I get that, like, if you're trying to, like, throw things around, so maybe, like, there's, like, this port kind of has, like, a, like, Lorville. Like, Lorville's a good example. I think Lorville has a very each port city has a very distinct color palette. So I get, like, Lorville kind of, like, has colors that reflect the environment, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, why, if I go to a space station or anywhere, why can't I, if you have MacFlex suits, why can't I get every piece in the one color I want to get it?
Yeah, makes no sense.
It's so maddening. I don't know if this is Tony Z's fault with his economy. Fix it. Or give me the ability to color it myself.
It's an alpha issue. CIG wanted to make a reason for people to travel, so they intentionally never put any one set anywhere, so you'd have to go around. And I was like, this is a really bad way of doing it. But
not having the specific physical set, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if I have the physical set and you have one piece that is in dark red, and the other two pieces of that set you have are not also in dark red, or whatever the color is, I just keep using that example because it's one of my favorites that I have that issue with. Just one freaking. I just want to kick stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you
every time.
I said I'm a man of imperial tastes. Most of my the armor that I wear is got this kind of imperial purple, and the problem is that there will be two sets of armors from the same manufacturer that have different imperial colors, and then you can't find them anymore. You have to go loot for them now, and so it's like I just can't wear the color I want to wear anymore. So, okay, so yeah, I agree with that. Reggie, how about you? What sort of armor customizations would you like?
I would love to have discrete armor where it hides. I don't like advertising on my chest exactly what I'm wearing, what gear I have. You look right at my ammunition. You look at what kind of medical gear I have. You know what I'm dealing with. I would prefer to have light and medium armors where, like, in the legs, it pops open and ends a magazine. And it's okay if I can only fit so many that way. Like, I'm thinking of more of those in-between moments. And for the love of God, let me put a jacket on top of my armor, for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm. I just love to have jackets over armor in general, just because that's a cool aesthetic.
Yeah, it is. Also,
Yeah.
like, I mean, think about like, people who work in like law enforcement, like undercover, like FBI agents, like, they wear plain clothes, right? They wear like professional plain clothes, but they wear plain clothes, and of course, they have like they always wear those holsters that are like this, like
Like
it's
the
almost like a little
the pit
vest
holsters.
usually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they'll have their gun like under their arm kind of thing. And it's like, why? I totally agree with you, Red J. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like that's what I picture in my mind when you talk about that. Like not just armor, but like also holsters or whatever. Like there are people who use firearms or use armor pieces under plain clothes.
Yeah, to build on that slightly, gun belts. So if you put a
Yeah,
utility
that'll be
belt
so
that's made
hot.
for combat and put like, okay, the magazines are a bit shorter, or there's only a couple of them you can fit, but you can put them on your back, hiding them underneath the jacket or whatever you're wearing. That would be nice, like a quiet, discreet, but I can handle things type person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Han Solo's blaster is part of this look. Yeah, like Han, like that you'd have to bespoke that to probably a pair of pants.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
unless they added belts separately, but that would be.
I would love like the classic bandolier sort of strapped across your chest to add more ammo. Where it's just like I can get a separate attachment or separate system that's like just strapped like I'm looking like out of a spaghetti western, how much guns I have or how many how much ammo I can carry on that sort of thing.
That would be funny if they made some ridiculous like bandolier suit that you could like mount like literally like 6 guns to.
Just pistols.
And you could just be like, you don't have armor, you just have guns on your body. And like, like you're just like, that would be a good bimbo himbo look. You're just like, you're not wearing a shirt, but you're wearing a bandolier and you got all your guns.
Yes. Cut shorts, short shorts, full guns everywhere.
Yeah.
Someone brought us.
That would be so precious. I love it.
Someone
I definitely want himbo bimbo armors. Like.
Oh gosh, what am I thinking? Oh yeah, chat said, capes, robes and capes.
There are a couple capes in the game.
There's a few, but I mean like more.
I would like to, I'm a big fan, like one of my favorite type styles of cape, just since we're on the subject of capes, is like the kind where it's like Power Girl. I love Power Girl's cape because she has that thing, that like rope thing around. And so the cape kind of only hangs off of like her shoulder a little bit. Power Girl, great cape. Yeah. Also, great. I mean, one of my favorite designed DC characters, like Boob Window, best thing in the world. As a Klingon, I love a good Boob Window.
And you'll be happy to note that that's basically how all Space Marine capes work, is they're all just like strapped across with a rope, so
like almost like on the epaulette, like almost like they're hanging off of an epaulette that's like attached to a rope. That's exactly what I'm talking about, like Capitan, Capitan Monasterio kind of deal, like that kind of stuff. Oof. I think I would really love to see them put more like Spanish influence. Yeah, they have before, but I would really love to see them put a lot more Spanish influence in some of the clothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say a serape or a poncho. Or
what are those little outfits the guys that fight the bulls wear?
Yeah, the matadors. The matador kind of outfits, yeah.
I don't like what they do, but I like the way they look. Yeah, it's a cruel sport.
Building on that, Paul, your poncho idea, that would be a great way to break up your silhouette as well. So if you're talking about combat side, and also hide what you're packing, so at a distance somebody can't look through a scope and tell what's going on with you too much.
And ponchos are just cool.
There are so many jokes in that statement that I will not say.
Listen, sometimes you wanna wow somebody with your package, okay? Sometimes you wanna be subtle about it.
I need to get some Scotch in me for this conversation.
It was good. I said I was being good.
Building on a lot of this conversation as well, this is another thing I'd really love to see CIG do, is just take more than just Western influences. There's so many different types of like attire out there, but
they used to have like all of the different kinds of cowboys.
Yeah.
From all the different parts. Like I feel like CIG does, but maybe it doesn't translate to us as well because we see that, like we see the Western part of it sometimes more than we see like the Middle Eastern or the Spanish.
But I mean like more like in clothing in the game. So
yeah,
like,
but it's fair, yeah, because they did that cowboy design years ago, and that's never been put in game as far as I know.
So yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna get steamrolled by sweaty boys in super heavy armor and overt long arms up the yin
God.
I haven't in all these years. I've been here since the beginning of this project, and I've been in a lot of, not a ton of PvP, but enough PvP. And I'll tell you this much: most of the time, I'm not alone. So that's one of my best tricks of staying alive and staying upright is not being alone. So it's not just you. You'd have to deal with me and many other my friends.
Yeah.
Well, and being subtle about having what you have is also an important way of disarming people, because if people say, "Oh, you're alone. I'm going to attack you because you're alone and you know, unarmed or less armed." It's like I'm not unarmed. I'm armed, and I have backup. You just didn't see them. You know, kind of.
Come and take it.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. We've got 5 questions left. Midnight Black SC asks, what's the best ship in game for concept for traveling fashion show in the verse that's not the BMM?
Friendship. Sorry.
The Cutlass.
Contractually required to answer friendship.
The Cutlass Purple. The Cutlass Purple is the best fashion ship in game.
Okay, the Cutlass Purple is a small ship.
That's true.
And it's not real, unfortunately. No. So, and it needs to be called like like purple is such an odd word. As much as I love the word violet, or the indigo or something, and that would be a better word.
The Cutlass
indigo really sounds fun.
That's sexy. Yeah, that's very Drake to be like, let's go with a name that just sounds fun and has nothing to do with the the thing we're doing.
But speaking of Pride Month, indigo always makes me think of the Indigo Girls.
Yes,
and I just like imagine Lilith Fair. You know, everybody saying "Come to My Window."
Yes,
by Melissa Etheridge. Happy Pride, Mom. I love you. She loves Melissa Etheridge. but no, like currently it's probably the 890 because it fits the aesthetic, right? It fits like if you want something to look good, and also it has that space like those staircases, so you could like arrange a really cool fashion show with those staircases if you timed like the people walking up and down, right? Like somebody comes up, stands, does the turn, and they either go into the bar or they come down the other side while the other person's been coming up from that other side, you know, like and also this is like not a fashion thing, but it kind of is for the 890J. CIG, when are you going to allow 890 owners to change that sculpture at will?
Heck yeah.
I think one of the coolest things that they could ever do for the 890J would be to have like you could change it from that sculpture to maybe like a grand piano, a working in-game grand piano would be so badass. Or just just an empty spot, or like a catering table, or like a display table for like a cocktail table.
Fountain,
even though there's
a fountain. Would be absolutely
baller.
gaudy.
That would be super baller.
It would be.
It has to be a really well done fountain. It'd have to be like a super sexy fountain.
But I mean, like, think about the idea that you have a space yacht in space, and you have a working fucking fountain on your in the foyer. That's some like
that's some like
that's
status.
Shit. That's some status.
That is so bougie.
Reggie,
but you know what I'm saying? Like changing.
Should we swap that out? Yeah. Reggie, what do you think is best ship in game or in concept for traveling fashion show? That's not the Benny Merchantman.
On a large scale, you already hit on the 890 jump, and I'd add as an honorary mention 600i touring post rework when that's in. But
yes, yeah.
On the deep end of the other way, I kind of challenged myself and was like, what is the smallest ship we could possibly do? And I kind of had fun with it, and I'm going to be biased. And my favorite daily driver, the Connie Phoenix.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yes,
and speaking. It does have a working piano. It only plays Moonlight Sonata, but it does have a working piano when you get the Hartwell ADHE in there. And also the bar is quite nice. The seating area was the business class seating area to the side is also a nice area. And it has the smallest area I think you could do for a small show. So yeah, I think there's a lot of options. There's a few options,
I think you could do a really cool utility one, like out of like a Caterpillar. Like if you're doing a utility fashion.
Yeah.
You need windows. Is that if that door had like an air thing on it?
You just open up all those doors.
Yeah, but like in space.
Well, yeah. It doesn't work right now. It's fine.
Well, when it does, it's gonna be a problem. But yeah, like, why
Please
is the
land
Connie?
it.
Why is the Connie's look? Why does the Connie Phoenix instinctually for me? And why is the 600i? And why is the 890? It's the windows. It's all those dang
It's the
windows.
Especially that skylight window on the 890. Ugh, I love that.
Yeah,
that big giant piece of glass, space glass, space Pyrex, SpaceX. Maybe that's what SpaceX really is. It's space Pyrex.
Yes. Fun fact: there is actually lore behind the glass. It's all diamond laminate.
It's like it's transparent steel from Star Trek 4.
Yes.
I literally okay. I just have to say this. I saw this girl on TikTok have this whole video about how she doesn't understand how in all these sci-fi like Star Trek and all this, why do they have glass? That doesn't make sense.
It's transparent aluminum.
It's like, girl, go watch The Voyage Home. Like, what are you doing? We all know that it's transparent steel.
Yeah.
Like, nobody questions it. But she just went on this whole tirade. And she was like an astronomer or something. She was a space person in some way. And I was like, girl, watch Star Trek 4. And then she came back to me 2 weeks later. She's like, oh, that's what it is in Star Trek. I said, yes. Like, we don't need to discuss this any further.
Everyone in chat is saying it's transparent aluminum, not transparent steel.
Yeah, but steel. You know,
transparent metal.
You knew what I meant. I forgot aluminum. But yeah, it's transparent metal. I don't know why I said steel, but yeah, I knew it was aluminum.
Well, apparently in Star Wars it's steel. So all the things in Star Wars is transparent steel. So,
Chat's looked up what it's called. Corundum.
Corundum is
that guy. That guy in 1985 invented it, thanks to Scotty and Bone.
Exactly. Because it's an actual. I know it's an aluminum oxide. Okay, I know what I've heard corundum before. It's like I've heard of this metal before. It is sort of transparent, isn't it? Nice.
But Drake uses transparent tinfoil. So
you're right. The windows, though, the windows do make it. And Reggie's right. Like Phoenix, all the way. So good.
Plastisteel in 40K. Plastisteel is actually like plastic steel. It's like it's that's why. Yeah, it's a steel that's made out of like a different style. It's not transparent. It's like plastisteel is how like the armor. I think the flak armor that guardsman wears plastisteel. So it's a little different. Minstrel 19K asks, do you think it's too much to program into NPCs the ability to kill on site or non-kill on site / give discounts or raise prices depending on the org guild sponsored clothing or avatar is wearing? Absolutely not. That is 100% something they could do. Because
maybe that's a lot of orgs in game. So if we're talking about like player orgs, that's a huge undertaking. If we're talking about
like the guilds,
like the guilds and stuff that are already that they create in the game, 100%. That would be super cool. I would love that.
Yeah. And they've already said that they can give reputation to everything. They could give reputation to a chair. So like every like object in the game can have reputation. So your clothing could have reputation, and it would just simply be like the clothing that you're wearing is part of a certain organization, and that organization has a reputation, so it just transfers onto that clothing.
Well, people have talked about like how cool it would be like if you actually like went to like missions, right, where there's like Ninetales or something, and you have killed Ninetales before, you put on Ninetales armor and you go down in there, or like a bunker mission, like how maybe you could get through, like they wouldn't
notice you. Yeah.
And maybe there'd be a timer on how long they take to realize you're not one of them based on like things you do, like
or how close you are, because there's an awareness meter. They have an awareness meter, which is for like a squadron. So like, which is like kind of like a site, so it could easily do that. Like, this is stuff that's been. This was
that'd be fun gameplay to like sneak into, like to have some espionage.
Yeah.
Or like just sneaking in to do something. Like you need to just go in there, do one thing. You don't actually need to talk to him, so you just need to blend in. Like again, I think we talked about this before. Indiana Jones 101. punch the Nazi and then take his uniform and then blend in with the Nazis for a little bit until you have a fist fight, and then you got to get out of there. Until
Distro centers are trying to start stealth gameplay. That would be a great addition, Buster.
Yeah. And distribution centers. So like they want you to be able to stealth in there. So being able to wear the right jumpsuit that the dock workers are wearing at a distribution center, so they just don't notice you because they're huge.
I also wish you could pickpocket instead of kill NPCs for their clothes, like in Bethesda games.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fallout New Vegas had
or knock him out, just knock him out, which I think you can do in Star Citizen, but.
Fallout New Vegas had a disguise system where if you wore certain faction outfits, you would have different responses depending on where you were, and if you got too close, they would notice you.
I've been playing New Vegas. That's something they're like, don't wear the wrong thing or you might get attacked.
Yeah, and that's that was 2009, 2010. It's not. We're not talking about groundbreaking technology.
Yeah,
it's been around for a while. Yeah, this kind of idea.
Cool.
So, and I think, like I said, I think they have already built that into the reputation system. So yeah, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to do that. And I think they want to do that, Yeah, because it would also be hilarious if you walk into Cairo wearing a full like Microtech outfit, and you walk up to in a gang station wearing full Microtech outfit. Everyone's gonna be like, "Who's this rube who shows up into our front door dressing into the wrong neighborhood, man?"
How do you do, fellow ruffians?
Yes.
One of my favorite people in the community online. He's so, if y'all don't know online, he's fantastic. Yeah. But one of the things he does, I was literally telling somebody about this yesterday. One of the things he's done to me is during an Invictus or something like that, or what's the other one in the fall? IAE. I think when it's been at New Babbage, I have a clip somewhere of I'm walking through from New Babbage and he's in one of the security guard uniforms in that area, just standing off to the side they do. I have no idea it's him, and I just have one of them start talking. And of course, as soon as a security guard in full regalia starts talking to me like a real person would, I knew who it was. And so I played along, and I had a good time. And he asked me stuff I remember he'd asked me where are you heading to? And I said, your daddy's house.
I remember that clip. I remember seeing that clip. Yeah.
So just sometimes just having the rights, even though we don't have it with the NPCs to do it right now, players, you could get out there and wear the NPCs outfits and you can have a great time having a great time.
Whenever I do
the roleplay side, you can really mess with people with those uniforms.
Oh yeah. Whenever I do lore tours, it's a tradition that when the lore tours have ended, someone always comes down in full security outfit and says, "Wait, are you that famous smuggler Paul Shelley?" And I just book it. I book it out of there. "We have a warrant for your arrest," and they just chase after me the entire time. And I don't even just schedule it. It just happens because people know that's what to do when I do these tours. So
that's cute. I love it.
You want to add anything to that, Reggie?
No. I just, one last thought I had about that was it'd be cool if, let's say down the line there's habitation in let's say Hurston Dynamics, the large tower. You get the high end tower, you get the reputation and the money, the credits to spend on that. Okay, let's say you're there and you have to wear a special pin to get in and out of the building. Access is only allowed through that. But when you're out amongst the people in MMV, in a dive bar like that,
if there's you have it on, they're gonna be like, ew.
Yeah, there's gonna be some static from the bartender. There's gonna be some static from the locals. It'd be cool to see something like that.
Yeah, just that dichotomy of even in one place, just two different little places in one place, can treat you differently.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. I love that because it kind of plays into especially a place like Loreville classism, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because that place is classism, the planet.
There's a famous scene that my wife likes to it's handed up into my wife's her Twitter feed, which is a scene from Inglourious Bastards where one of the characters is trying to blend in. He's wearing a Nazi uniform and he's talking to people in French and all that kind of stuff, and he's in a bar. And he's talking with somebody, and there's a Nazi, and he's like, "Oh yeah, 3 drinks," and the guy looks at it and goes, he knows exactly that he's not a German because he did this and not this.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing. And I think that's the kind of thing you would see. That's like an example, but like you'd have something like that.
Little cultural.
Yeah.
Just
like
enough of a small cultural difference
you're
for
wearing
him to
the
pick
wrong
up.
pin, or you're wearing the wrong tie, or you're wearing
Or you're wearing something in the wrong manner.
Yes.
Like, oh, you have an ascot on? Well, there's a million ways to tie an ascot.
Yeah. And you could do stuff like that with Star Citizen to kind of add a little bit more of that detail and nuance to character interaction. Being like, I know you're not from here because you're wearing the wrong boots. You're wearing the brown boots instead of the red boots. Everyone's wearing the red boots in this side of.
Oh, you're over there from Stanton Space. Oh, you must really like soft chairs.
Yeah.
It's soft.
Building on that slightly, Kingdom Come Deliverance. When Henry, the character, you go into places, if you have blood on your tunic, like if you don't wash it before you go back into town, the town's going to be like, what's going on with you? Where did you get that blood from? What happened? Yeah. It'd be interesting in SC if it's the same way. Like if you come in like all beat up, it'd be like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
You know?
You show up and your armor is like completely ragged. Like it's just like you went through a gunfight. Someone's gonna be like,
"You all right?
What happened? Why do you look like you just popped out of a gunfight?" There's great little small interactions where like an NPC recognizes what's going on and has a small little bit of a reaction to it. Like what?
What's that phrase we use here in Texas? You look like you've been rode in hard and come up wet.
Come up wet? Yeah.
Yeah. It came up wet. As in, like, you were, it's a horse. For those of you who don't know, again, cultural differences in the world, that phrase is reflecting a horse, a horse that's been rode hard, like you've been running a horse. And then when it finally came in to stable or whatever, it was wet because it's been sweating. So that's like a way of saying, you look like you've been through it, Yeah. So if you didn't know, put away wet. That's what it is. Rode hard, put away wet. Thank you.
We got a lot of Texasisms. My mom was from Texas, so I grew up with all them Texasisms. Like it used to drive my dad crazy because she would say over yonder, and my dad was like, "Where's yonder?" I'm like, "It's over there, Dad." And he's like, "But just tell me where it is." She's like, "It's yonder." Like she wouldn't even.
It's a word.
Gesture. Yeah.
Well, you get mad about y'all. Like, who's y'all? It's y'all. It's all y'all. Good Lord. He doesn't know how to measure.
Yeah. It's like
we do y'all.
Philly,
we do y'all.
Yeah.
Who's on first?
We've got 4 questions left. Womblissimo asks, allowing for the fact that the bodies could have a fit the existing furniture and not spaces, is there any good reason we can adjust lots about our faces and heads but not our bodies? Ships. We were talking about it. It's ships controls.
It's ships. Yeah.
It's not the furniture. It's the ship controls.
It's the animation. It's like because like they explain it on like SCL like the character models like will bring the cup to their face now, but because if you're a taller person, your arm is slightly longer, like and it won't just sync up right away. They'd have to make adjustments to those animations based on those proportions. And also like how much do they allow proportion for you? Because like most people like feel like, nobody's perfectly proportioned, right? Like, some of us are like, I guess for the terms of like, I guess specifically women's bodies, like hourglass, pear shape, and that goes for men's bodies too. Hourglass, pear shape, all those things affect something, right? And even there's so much to literally this you have to fix this. And how does it move? You don't want your hot dog going into your third eye, I mean, you got to feed the third eye, right?
Feed it hot dogs.
Yeah,
But yeah, and that's the thing is that it's your height variation. Like right now, the if you're using a female character model, it has a different height than a male character model, and you can.
They had to adjust the whole game around that. They literally did.
Every seat in the game has 2 different settings depending on the heights. And when you start like having a variation, even if they had a range, like say 5'6" to 6'3", like say that range, that means they'd have to have a setting for each of those heights. Every single of those height variations would have its own setting for every shape, which means every animation
for every single arm length
and moving. Yeah, it's
also there was like I remember this was a question on the very first Star Citizen Live, because remember they changed over from RTV and and ATV and all that. They had like, I remember there was a woman who they had a section where they were asking people. They had a few questions they had people ask, and like Sean Tracy was on there, right?
Yeah.
And some lady came up and she actually said, "Hey, are you aware that the female model, like when she's carrying a box, it's like right there in front of her, like you can't see past it. So you can't." And Sean Tracy's like, "What?" And because he was having this whole thing about basketball, like he said, had this whole conversation about basketball for some reason. And so one comes up and is like, "Hey man, I can't even hold a box with that and still be able to see in front of me." And so like the next patch that was adjusted. So that's an example of something, even when the female model just came in, like they had to adjust how she holds the box, because if they went with the default, she's holding it right here instead of right here. So lots of drag. There's lots of drag in that right now. So
and it's
when they get through it, they'll figure it out, guys and gals.
It's not an impossible thing. They just need to
they have to find a way to adjust it in mass,
and
have to individually do it for every variation, because that would be thousands upon thousands upon thousands. That would be infinite.
And they have a system they've been developing recently that can help with that, in terms of like flipping switches for like the character to, like when they flip switches, so that they don't have to manually animate every switch that's flipped. They can just say, this is the type of switch, your character needs to do this, and the character will like automatically kind of flip the switch rather than having to bespokely animate that. And that's something they wanted to do for like all of the ships. And so once they get that sort of system done, it makes it easier for them to have those sort of changes. So
somebody in chat also said it's interesting to think how that might affect an alien player. Somebody, if there's eventually the ability to play an alien character, how that totally. So it doesn't matter if it's a human. It's beyond a human problem, I guess. Now that's a really good.
And they want to put playable really alien characters.
If they're playable.
Yeah, and so that's definitely
not being.
They said they want to, and so that's part of that whole system. Whatever system they're going to develop is going to have to be more than just different sizes, but like to fit with all of the aliens. So
there's a lot of adjustments to make.
All right, we've got three more questions. I'll start with you on this one, Red J.
Why Miss Red Lear? I mean, his model. I'm not happy with that I made for him, because I could not find a good picture of Red Lear. Anyway.
Cleric Thea asks, will they add in a good way to know which areas have breathable atmospheres? I don't mind wearing clothes, but I don't want to walk outside and drop dead.
There's a couple ways that they could handle this, where the game is supposed to be, I believe one of the theories that used to be pitched by Tracy and Roberts was like, they wanted to make the game realistic, but then dial it back slightly to keep it fun. I think was one of the sales pitches for a long time. And I think this applies to this. Give players like a 3-second grace period or something before they start taking the health damage. So you walk outside, and that starts happening, you have that moment to come back, and leave the airlocks need to stay open a little longer than they do right now. So you can go back. If it detects you retreated back, immediately close it and start cycling on its own without you having to touch anything.
Yeah.
I also think,
I also think that there just needs better sensor gameplay. There needs to be something you can do where you can just like pop open and be like, it's breathable atmosphere, not breathable atmosphere, just like a simple switch somewhere,
Yeah, or like a readout in your helmet that's like, hey, up ahead, like atmosphere outside of ship is da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Well, because you're not wearing a helmet, if you're about to walk into an area ahead of you, it should give like a little chirp letting you know, like something around you is about to be not breathable, or some other visual or audio cue if you're not wearing a helmet.
And the theory is too that like even with a helmet on, you're wearing like a contact, like contacts.
Yeah, your
visor.
Yeah.
Because they had to explain that to people. They had to come up with an in-game reason for it to work that way, because people can't just accept it's a video game and maybe it'd be helpful. I get that it's immersion thing for some people, but like Star Trek chirps or something like warning, warning, or even just a voice like popping up and saying warning, you are about to enter a hostile environment. As like,
Yeah, and it's important to know.
Please adjust your your apparel accordingly.
Yeah,
I could be the voice. I could be like, you better not commit any fashion crimes today. That's warning, you're about to be so icy, girl. Ooh.
You're wearing white after Labor Day.
Oh my god.
What was I gonna say? Oh yes, CIG also wants to have like pockets of like hazardous like locations. Like we know that they want to do things like pockets of unbreathable atmosphere inside of a cave because like,
or
of
like
the
probably nuclear.
Yeah, like radiation.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to go for. Radiation.
So there's going to need some sort of way to be able to detect the atmosphere or the environment you're around, because it's also going to matter in terms of not just your suit, but not just like if you have a clothing or a suit, but like in some cases you can't even go to there without a full environmental suit, like the full like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man suits that you see, like the
Jared's suit now.
Yeah. Those big like it's like starts with the C. I can't remember the name of it, but like the Inferno suits and those other ones. So
it's the Jared suit now, but and I would hope that like they actually
Caldera.
would like.
Thank you.
Oh, the Caldera. I would hope too that like there again, and that to me plays into the inventory thing or just the ability. Like I think in every spaceship, at least the ship that you can stand inside of, not one that necessarily is a cockpit type ship, but like there has to be like a locker for your clothing and like a quick swap. Because my God, I love that I can carry stuff with me in my ship, right? And I can like adjust my clothing depending on where I go a little bit. But my God, we have to have that in the ships too, because I do not want to spend 5 minutes like deciding when I already decided at port, but I've got to like, oh wait, was this the right gun that goes with
It's people have raid equipment versus regular PvE equipment. This is some basic MMO stuff. Like that's something that needs to get done, even for like tire.
If I get down in the cave and I'm like, oh crap, like this area is radiated and I didn't know, I got to go all the way back up anyway. I don't have to go all the way to like an apartment or something. Not that they would do that, but like I just want to be able to go to my ship real quick and pop swap it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and now I'm slow again because I'm in a giant suit. I hate it. The suit.
On the suit locker topic, if you could convert it into like 12 outfits or something like that, that might be a good compromise or workaround. So you could do one, or you could do the clothing.
Or you do the clothing, yeah.
I honestly wish they have variety in the eco suits too, because like I hate how they're so puffy. I hate all the puffy. Like sometimes I would like, maybe I might be in an environment that's only half as hot as that suit can withstand. Can I not have like a more like light version of that suit that maybe can't take as much heat, but it's like more maneuverable? Like I can run in it, Yeah.
All right, we've got 2 more questions. I'll start with you on this one, Buster.
Okay.
Will we get hangers for our hangers to hang up our clothes and armor? I think we just kind of answered this question, which is like sets, like armor sets.
I mean, there's hangers in the game, right? In like your little apartments, there's little hangers.
Yeah.
Slacker from Another Dimension have that? Because that's already a hanger thing that's coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love. It would be cute to. I always think of like that SNL skit where they're folding the clothes and they have the tiny phones, and the coolest guy has like the tiniest of the phones. So anytime I think of people like putting like folding clothes or hanging them, I think of that. So I'm like just sitting there like, I want to put stuff on a hanger and get out my tiny little communicator. But yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think, Reggie?
I think we will absolutely as we grow into the hangars and get hangars for our hangars. Yes, also our ships and also any.
It's the most obvious place to have a clothing locker, right? Like,
I also like the idea that someone said display mannequins. being able to like take your really
That'd be
cool
cool.
suit and then
Like-
put it on a mannequin and have it in your hanger. So you'd be like, listen, this is the cool stuff. Like, it's a
All right,
classic.
Batmans. All right,
Yeah.
all of y'all's hangers are going to become bat caves at
Yes.
this point.
Heck yeah, why not? I mean,
Like a giant penny,
Yeah.
a big T-Rex.
Yes.
You know.
Listen, men have to. We've been told we have to grow up. We never said we had to grow old, or we had to grow old. We never said we had to grow up. That's the answer. Yeah, we can grow up. We never had to grow old.
Well, here's the deal. Just make it nice.
Yeah.
Don't just like leave your clothes on the floor.
No, you gotta make it fashion. You gotta
gotta put them on the
awesome.
hanger. In the
Yeah.
hanger.
You know, don't forget to tuck the toilet back in to the wall.
Rip it out. Oh yeah, like the shoilets. Yeah, like push it back in. You know. All right.
What?
Last question. I'm start with you there.
Oh,
Maria and Smashburger.
I have a Bria and Smashburger taco waiting for me. So let's go
Ooh.
through this, guys.
We got last one. Last one.
Yes.
Reggie, this is for you.
I thought I brought you up food.
What is everyone's favorite
down.
ship? Paul need not answer since we know it's the Redeemer. I hate your ears. Reggie, what's your favorite ship?
My favorite ship is my Connie Phoenix. I have a Connie Phoenix sitting in Melt right now. I have a Connie Phoenix Emerald right now as my daily driver. I love that ship. No, it's not my primary combat ship. No, it's not the most practical ship, although with the new NURSA and based in the bottom of it, it's even more practical than ever. But yeah, I love my Connie Phoenix. I know that ship like the back of my hand. Every single PTU cycle, I can just rip it out, and I know exactly how it's going to land. I know exactly how it's going to fly. I really like having that comfy sense, but especially when I'm testing new things.
Buster, favorite ship?
Friendship
And
and doggies.
there we go.
Macartua was like one of my first great loves because it was the first one I wanted. And I love the Freelancer. I will always love the Freelancer. It's been there. It was my first dog fighter.
The Freelancer?
Yeah. I used to just slam people with that thing all the time. Oh, it moves so slow too.
Your first bowling ball, you mean?
I killed Nerd Show and Tell. You remember Nerd Show and Tell?
Yeah.
Good old Shane. That the infamous Nerd Show and Tell who would kill everybody at port all the
Yeah.
time. I finally won against him in a dogfight in a Freelancer. So
There we go.
and then and also somebody in my community who wishes to remain anonymous actually like as a gift gave me the Santoki. I love that thing. I love that thing. I don't really have a favorite. I love all my little star baby ships and my
Yeah.
puppy. Yeah, you grumble about it. Wait till you didn't hear her. She goes,
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the last question. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Red J and Buster for coming on and taking the time out of the day to come join us on this. Make sure you are following both of them on their YouTubes, their social medias, and their Twitches when they have a chance to. Weedle, okay?
don't eat the tree, Sweetle. Don't get on him.
With that, like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.